What is up, everybody? Look what I did. I started the show without turning on my light. Bink. It's on. All right. Holy smokes. Let me get my monitor monitoring. All right. All right. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy day 2 of the Tyler Robinson show trial. The circus continues today. It gets worse every day, especially because the Fed sloppers are out there acting like a lot of the evidence that they presented is something new. It's nothing new. We haven't seen anything new. But yeah, right before I went live, and maybe, I don't know, we either just do it or I take a poll and see what you guys think. Frank Turd Turkey is doing a premiere right now, trying to debunk his conflicting testimony on what went down in the back of the SUV, and trashing Candace and all of us as well. So please talk about the Ring doorbell. Yeah, we will, with the bald guy and the 3 people. Yeah, we're definitely going to cover everything. So it's like, where do I start? Because, I guess we'll start with what I was going to start with. Excuse me. Hold on. I need a sip of water. It was an intense day at the gym. It was a long day at work too, and it's getting hot out here. So, all right, you guys, let's focus. Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim. And would you do me a favor, please? Can you guys, and would you, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like and the subscribe to help support me and this channel and this community? It is the best way to do it. All right, so some pretty important things to cover today that took place in the courtroom. We're going to look at Catherine Nestor, mainly her cross-examination of Agent Hall. Also, we're going to look at a part where Attorney Novak goes pretty, not like scorched earth, but like he's clearly pissed at the prosecution, McBride, for trying to enter into evidence a document that was created by this guy at TPUSA called Englehart, and I hopefully someday we get to see this document, because it sounds insane. Like this guy at TPUSA, Englehart, writes this document, sends it to the prosecution, and the prosecution wants to admit it into evidence. And Novak's like, no, I object. And then McBride starts to quote it and read it. And Novak is like, what the heck? I object. Like, what is going on? And in this document, it's basically Englehart saying, Charlie Kirk was a political religious figure. He was pretty polarizing. He would go to the campuses. He would debate, long form, debates with students regarding like hot button issues. One major one, that was very controversial leading up into and the day of the September 10th was like LGBTQ and trans and gender and sexuality. And then it like starts going into religion and politics. And then he goes into, Englehart starts trying to say that he knows the motive. And he's saying that he knows why Charlie was assassinated by Tyler Robinson. And the motive is political and religious in nature. I mean, it was just insane. And Novak does a great job, getting pissed because, think about it, you guys, it's in Utah. Unless they change the venue when it goes to trial, which is supposedly end of 27, beginning of 28, is when the projected trial start date is. If it is in Utah, it doesn't matter where in Utah it is. Even the major, Utah's not like other cities, other states where like the major cities are extremely liberal. It's Utah. It's like conservative pretty much everywhere. Yeah, like there's probably pockets where there's a little bit, but not really. So the majority of the people and people that, you know, are LDS, they consider themselves Christian. I have my own stance on that. I don't consider them Christian, but that's a whole nother theological argument, which is not for today's show. But in their own minds, and you'd have to get into the mind of a, you know, prospective juror that is an LDS member, most likely in Utah, that is going to be a juror in this case. And if, you know, McBride had his way today, he would have read this whole freaking document and laid out that, and it quotes Matthew 19, and pretty much says that like Tyler Robinson is, you know, against, what is it? I wrote it down. What the actual like Engelhardt document, orthodox religious views, right? That Tyler Robinson assassinated Charlie Kirk for his orthodox religious views, and that Tyler's against that. Well, it turns out the document gets admitted as provisional evidence, which means it's not admitted into evidence, and it wasn't permitted to be quoted or read out loud, and the objection of Attorney Novak was sustained. So that was good, but sorry, that was kind of a tangent. We're going to cover quite a bit of things today, but I think one of the best ways to cover it is looking at like Officer Tatum and what's his name? Frickin' Andrew Colvette and Blake Neff, because they have they've been these guys, they've never been more popular but this week, you know. But even still, the majority, the views still aren't what they were with Charlie Kirk on their videos. But people are tuning in at a higher rate to just see what are these idiots going to say, you know. And so we're going to look at it through that lens and see what they're saying are the major like touchdowns and big wins for the prosecution. There was none, you guys. Let me hit refresh. We actually do have a really good show today. Not like we ever don't have a really good show. Hold on, I had to hit refresh. Hold on, let's pause. All right, I don't want this to play while I'm going. All right. I'm not going to spell out everything that we're going to do today, but we got a lot of good stuff today. Okay, let's just dive right in. Let's start with Officer Tater Tot and Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Make sure to throw up the emoji in the chat for Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Maybe we need to make an Officer Tatum emoji where he's like a tater tot. It's like potato head, but it's like a tater tot body, and it's Officer Tatum's face on top of it or something. Just an idea, maybe. If those of you that like making the emojis for the live chat, that's an idea. If it's stupid, it's all right. Just disregard. We'll do something else. All right. Whoa, shoot. I didn't know that was going to be like that. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to jump scare you. Holy smokes. Whoa. Please don't unsubscribe because I did that. Don't hit the thumbs down, please. I didn't realize his face was going to be like that. I should have warned you. Shame on me. Hey, I'm going to put Officer Tater Tot's face on the screen. Prepare yourselves, okay? It's coming fast. I had to refresh my monitor. There we go, making sure it's current. Ready? On 3, 1, 2, 3, here it comes. There it is. All right. Let's see. Where are we going to start with these cronies? Let's start right there.
Obviously, Blake, Brandon Tatum, Officer Brandon Tatum, and Joe Bob, all there. You can see them right there. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Brandon, I know you were in the courthouse all today. I can't wait to dive in and get your POV. I want to set this up just really quickly for our audience before we get into it. The date.
Someone should tell Andrew he's an adult male. And he should stop using abbreviations like he's typing on a keyboard, like his personal, POV. He goes like IRL, like you could just say in real life, he just always doing stuff like that. I forgot to mention, I don't know if it's timestamped with Graham Allen from yesterday, but we can get to it in a minute. The reason, so do you guys know how the court is set up for those not participating in the trial, like not the prosecution and the defense, or sorry, prosecution and defense, and like their paralegals, but everyone on the other side of that, like half pertaining wall that separates those participating in the trial and, the prosecution and the defendant. But the people that are in, I guess, in the pews, in the stands, right? The spectators, the viewers. Do you guys know how it's set up? Do you guys think it's set up like a normal courtroom where it's like you have the prosecution on this side, then you have the defense on this side, and then there's two separate rows with like an aisle down the middle? That's not how it's set up. So going back to like, I'm not even going to address that. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that. Going back to what I said yesterday about Erica Kirk not really being with the parents, Charlie Kirk's parents. Even yesterday, I was like, when I thought that these, the rows were separated, like defendant, prosecution, it still, to me, didn't indicate that they're there together. They didn't show up together. They haven't made a statement together. You don't see them together. We have to trust all these idiots that we don't trust about anything else, that they're there together, that they're in the room during recess or, during breaks together. But I think even more so now when you find out it's just one big row, like one big column where it's just a row, a row, a row. There's no dividing sides like prosecution and defense. And so it's a very small courtroom. There's a very small amount of people allowed in, and everyone's going to be jammed in there. And you don't really get to determine where you sit. Okay. And so people like Tyler's family are going to be near the front. People for Charlie Kirk's family are going to be near the front. And the people closest to Charlie Kirk are going to be his parents and then Erica Kirk. And they're sitting next to each other. They didn't show up together today. They showed up, and Stacey Sheridan got the memo. She didn't try to go out there and hug Mr. Kirk today and touch him again. They showed up on their own. I do wonder, though, like here, I guess I could play that before we get to Officer Tatum, just because it is the beginning of the day. They have security. I don't know that. Did they have security before? Like they're private figures. When Charlie was alive and he was getting death threats and, from whoever it is, right? I wonder, did his parents ever have to have security even then? Or did Charlie decide to give them security because he wanted to protect them, because he realized he is a target and an evil enough person might target his family? And so I don't know if the security team that's around his parents are new, or if this is like a thing that's already been like that. They definitely look Mossad to me. I don't know. It almost looks like the parents aren't excited or like willingly with these security team members. Let me pull it up real quick, and then we'll jump right into Officer Tater Tot. All right. As I scroll down, I got to get through all the things I bookmarked today to here. Here we go. Share. All right. So this is going to be Charlie's parents arriving this morning to the courthouse for day 2. All right. And just pay attention. This was not Erica Kirk's car. All right. Erica Kirk arrives at a separate entrance. She's already there. I didn't even see her come in today. I didn't see anyone post a video of Erica Kirk entering today, which was interesting. If anyone has it, you can send it to me. They're like surrounding the parents. I don't know. Is that normal for parents to have security like that? I don't know. It's interesting to me, you know? I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if that was something that was common before or if that's a new thing that is after in the wake of the assassination or not. But anyway, they didn't show up together. I don't think them sitting next to each other is any kind of indication that they're together. The parents have had ample opportunity to speak out in support of Erica in any way, not even like just through a mediator of some kind, a PR person, anyone. They haven't done so. That public dual statement was posted by like Andrew and their PR team. Like, we're together, we're going to be there together, we're family united, pray for us. I don't know that the parents have any part in that statement at all. But anyway, let me get to these two real quick. Mystic, thank you so much. Yeah, there is another entrance. Yeah. Whoever Mystic, thank you so much for the 5 Blackline Brief memberships. I appreciate you. And then we got Honeys. Thank you for your $5. Happy anniversary. Yes, that was yesterday. Thank you very much. 13 years yesterday, happily married, and 2 beautiful, 12-year-old girls. And yeah, we have a blessed marriage and a blessed family. Couldn't be more happy. And thank you so much. So it says, I know you said your special day was coming up soon. Love your show and all here. Yes, it was. It was yesterday, July 6th. So thank you so much for that. All right. And let's get into it with Officer Tater Tot. Okay. And Tweedledee Tweedledum and Jim Bob Joe.
A2 was, I think, an absolute bombshell of a day. There was multiple aspects of today that were critically important for the state to establish probable cause, which again is the standard in a preliminary hearing, to take it to a full trial. Okay. The morning started off huge, and gentlemen, this is where we're going to start.
That's not me, you guys. I don't know who's freaking breathing in the mic like that. That's not me.
We left off last night where they were trying to submit this, the state was trying to submit this video compilation, and they had sort of a John Madden style version of it that they were not allowed to do. But this morning they got the compilation in. It was more of the raw footage version of.
You guys are so quick. I got an Officer Tater Tot emoji sent to me. This is so good. You guys are so good. Oh my gosh. I'll put it on, and not during the show, but it'll be there tomorrow. You guys are the best.
But it was huge.
It wasn't.
We've established that Tyler Robinson was on campus, the UVU campus, 4 times. Twice in the morning, then during the actual shooting, and then once in the evening that actually bled into the early hours of September 11th. Officer Tatum, I want to start with you, sir. What was that like, watching that footage and hearing for the first time 4 times on the campus of UVU?
Okay. So they're stating, and I'm going to break the most important parts of today down. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, hit the wrong button. It's moving quickly. Kristen, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member to the Blackline Brief. Welcome to the team. I appreciate you. Yeah. So when they say that it's like now established fact that Tyler Robinson was on campus 4 times on the 10th, all they're doing is quoting the already known video evidence that doesn't actually. And so that's the same issue with who was it that was attacking Candace for saying, I think it's actually Andrew coming up. He'll even play a clip of her and try to make fun of her. No. what Candace said is what we've said, right? Tyler, we don't believe Tyler was on campus after the 8:30 a.m. morning visit where he comes on campus and walks around. Other than that, he doesn't come back on campus, in my opinion, because the person that comes back later clearly looks totally different. I call him Eagle Boy because I refuse to call him Tyler Robinson because it's not even clear that it is. If anything, to me, it kind of points that it's totally somebody else. The gentleman in the afternoon, he has much broader, like straight shoulders. Tyler Robinson has like angled shoulders like that. Like the guy in the afternoon has like broad shoulders. They almost look like he's got like shoulder pads on, but he doesn't. His hair is black. The guy in the afternoon, Eagle Boy's hair is black. It's thicker. Tyler Robinson hair is brown and it's thinning. You can see it when you look at him in trial. And this is just 9 months ago. And if you remember 9 months ago, it's, his hair was pretty much the same. If you go look at the early shots of, camera shots of him in the beginning in the early hearings and stuff like that. Also, Tyler Robinson, when he surrendered himself. So that's the other thing. He didn't turn himself in. Okay. That is a key distinction. Andrew Colvett, Officer Tatum, and Blake Neff, they do these deliberate manipulation tactics where they're going to say that the defense admitted that Tyler Robinson was on campus 4 times that day because they said he. They say suspect and then they say he, or that he turned himself in. No, the defense says surrendered himself, right? And we'll get to that as that comes, but he wasn't on campus 4 times that day. That's what I believe. I believe he was there in the morning. That's the only clear video, in my opinion, where you can actually go like, okay, that does look like him. And you can clearly see, because, you could see the car. It's all very clear, right? All of the other times that they're stating that he was there, it looks like somebody else. It looks like somebody else entirely, right? And then they're also quoting, so the breezeway footage, video, and photos, which is him walking down, Eagle Boy walking down the stairs, under the tunnel, up the stairs, and onto the roof. They're using the Losi Center security camera footage of the person running and then jumping off the roof. And then another footage later that night where you can't see who that is. Like they try to say like he parks in a near my neighborhood and then comes on. The people that were in that neighborhood were like, that was a bald middle-aged white dude with like 3 other people in the car. And then you'll see when we get there. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just go right. Tyler Robinson wasn't there 4 times. That's our argument and Candace's. We've never said that he was never on campus. We said he wasn't on campus after the 8:30 a.m. time when he was there and he walked around.
Yeah, I could say, thanks for having me on. I could say it was an incredible relief that we can match up common sense with evidence and get it presented in court as a probable cause, effort. And because a lot of people are saying that, well, not a lot of people, I think people without a connected brainstem are saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't even on the campus whatsoever. And
this is how deliberate they are. I've never made that claim. Candace, I don't think has ever made that claim. She means at the time during the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I think it's pretty clear that he was on campus at 8:30 and then leaves.
Obviously, we see him on camera, verified. He was even stopped by law enforcement at 12:30 a.m. on the 11th, where they identified the vehicle and they identified him as a person driving the vehicle. Then they compile that.
But that was off campus.
And compared that to some of the videos that they had from previous days or the previous day. And it's clear that Tyler Robinson was the one driving the car on campus, even though he's not a student on campus. He has no reason to be there. He lived probably 200 miles away. So
he had no reason to be there. What about the 3,000 people that were there for the event that aren't students there? So they all had a reason to be there. Okay.
It was damning evidence for the defense team.
It wasn't.
Yeah, and
which they themselves were aware of.
yeah,
because
that's the other part here.
The
Yeah.
first hour of today was back and forth where they basically were arguing, can we please not show this sequence of video, even the unedited version, can we not show it because there is a quote, a realistic likelihood of prejudice to Mr. Robinson's right to a fair trial.
And think about this, you guys. If the defense can't argue anything right now, okay? The defense gets to cross-examine the prosecution's witnesses. They aren't presenting a narrative. They can only try to point to things through their cross-examination. If the defense knows things or believes strongly that they're correct about like that the person, whoever that is not Tyler Robinson in all the footage after the morning footage. Okay. And so anytime that the prosecution shows stills or video footage of Eagle Boy, the Losi Center roof footage, and the other footage of that individual, and then they continue to say Tyler Robinson, alleged suspect, Tyler Robinson. Yeah, that greatly prejudices Tyler Robinson's right to his presumption of innocence and to a fair trial and to not prejudice the jury pool, because people are going to just like Andrew Colvett and Officer Tatum, and they're drawing the conclusion like it's a foregone conclusion. Like, there's Tyler Robinson. Here he is again. Here he is again. People without knowing enough about the case, without knowing, has any of this been verified? It's really grainy footage. Could that be someone else? You know, some people are going to just arrive at the conclusion that, oh, it must be Tyler Robinson, when it's not. And so, yeah, I would object to them entering all of this footage as well, because they are drawing conclusions that it is Tyler Robinson, when I think likely the defense knows for a fact that it's not, especially when they've spoken with Tyler. And if Tyler had said, yeah, so think about this, you guys, this is what's interesting. Okay. When we get later to like, why would Tyler have turned himself in? Let's say Tyler, like Candace said, like Zach and Barron, and I've said as well, that Tyler did play some sort of peripheral role in this, right? Like he was talked into going on campus that day. I think he was talked into going on campus to scout out where the tent was. Okay. Where was the tent where Charlie Kirk was going to be underneath, right? To walk around campus, get a lay of the land, and to see like where everything's set up. Or he was just told, go on campus and just be caught on campus on camera, because we're going to have like 5 different decoys that aren't going to be the shooter, but that later the stupid prosecution is going to point to, but it's not going to be that, right? And if Tyler was working in conjunction with like 4 or 5 other people, whether some of them be feds, handlers, and Lance Twiggs, and then everything goes down the way it does, and Tyler knows for a fact that he's not the one that pulled the trigger or that assassinated Charlie Kirk, and then he's trying to get a hold of Lance, you know for a fact Lance went dark on him when all this went down. Whoever he was working with or that was working on him to get him to do, dropping off the clothes, picking up the clothes, driving around campus, after this went down and the heat started coming, I guarantee you all the people that were in this, group, whoever it is, went dark on Tyler. And then while they're in Utah, you got to imagine they're starting to release these images and footage. They're going to say, alleged suspect is presumed to be armed and dangerous. Do not approach. Call, police when you, if you see this person. Tyler's going to be like, what the heck? That's like the team. These are some of the guys that I was helping drop off clothes or whatever. Now they're ghosting him and he can't get a hold of them. And then as the day goes on, I think it's going to be a likely conclusion for Tyler, like, they're going to pin this on me. And then the LDS friend who was his, Boy Scout troop leader, who used to be a cop, was getting whispers within the community within Provo that they were honing in on Tyler Robinson, on his car, on, and this former LDS, well, he's a current LDS, but former police officer friend, family friend of Tyler, reached out with the parents to get him to realize that they're going to Lee Harvey Oswald him. They're going to, Matthew Crooks him. They're going to Jack Ruby him if he doesn't come in, right? Like, they were going to SWAT him. They're going to approach, the cops are going to approach him if he's still in the community like he's armed and dangerous. Okay. And if he believes that he's innocent and he wants to run, you know what happens when you run, especially when you're a suspect to a murder? They're going to get you. They're not going to ask questions. They're going to shoot and deal with it later. All right. And so I think it's very likely that they convinced him to surrender as his best option to stay alive and that they would fight this together. That's my personal thought process on this. All right. You tell me if you think that's likely or not.
That basically this video
Translates.
getting out there would be so viral, so widely seen. It would just make it too difficult for Robinson to have an untainted jury someday.
Yeah, well, as soon as this went out, it went viral all over. Joe Bob, what did you see from your perch as soon as that video evidence was made public and was actually broadcast to Judge Tony Graff's credit?
You guys, is this like a Knights of Malta cross behind Joe Bob? I feel like this is a Knights of Malta cross in this thing right here. Or it's like a Knights Templar cross, or it's kind of like the cross that Erica has on her necklace, and then she turned into a ring. Also, does it surprise you that Joe Bob has a freaking banjo mounted on his back wall? Also, who's Joe Bob? This whole set looks like it's professionally made. This guy just popped up. Oh yeah, he works for TPUSA.
Yeah, so to back up to the kind of the procedural part of it, there was obviously arguing over whether or not this should be shown, and it was interesting to see. I think he's an attorney representing the media side of it, saying, "Hey, well, if..."
All right, yeah, the attorney that represented the media argued that we had a right, everyone had a right to see it, the footage.
Theories that emerge that are I would say divergent from what the state is posting. We're seeing those online. Brandon, what was it like in the courtroom when that was happening? It felt like there's been a couple. There's still
craziness that was out there. Tyler Robinson wasn't even on the camera.
All right, I don't want to miss the beginning of whatever Andrew was just saying.
Okay. Thankfully, we finally have footage now to make sure that gets put to rest.
All right.
Nothing got put to rest. Nothing. This footage is the same footage. We're going to look at it too. It's going to be up.
So I totally agree. There's still going to be, theories that emerge that are, I would say divergent from what the state is posting. We're seeing those online. Brandon, what was it like in the courtroom when that was happening? It felt like there's been a couple instances where I've seen Judge Graff actually get a little bit. You can see his patience is wearing thin. He's very good at keeping a deadpan presentation, but you could see there was a couple moments, and then finally he rules on this. What was it like inside the courtroom when that was happening?
Well, for me, it was an incredible relief. I think I can echo the sentiment of most people that's on the Charlie Kirk team, Charlie Kirk's side, is that initially it was questionable whether or not they were going to get this amount of evidence or this type of evidence into the trial. But towards the end of the day yesterday, we kind of knew.
He's going to keep saying we, not just like Erica Kirk and those in the audience, right, that are on that side. Like, we as in us and the prosecution, like they're all working together, which is interesting because the prosecution does try to enter into evidence, a document written by Englehart, this employee high up at TPUSA. So there is some sort of coordination and cooperation between those at TPUSA and the prosecution.
That if we prepared it right, the evidence would be admissible. But it was a sigh of relief, and especially
if we prepared it right. Like Officer Tater Tot and Graham Allen and others at TPUSA helped the prosecution prepare the evidence to be submitted.
because we were able to, I think it was a give or take, because it was a sigh of relief because we were able to get the information in. Therefore, the world can see that Tyler Robinson it's evidence that he was on campus. But the thing that was a little disappointing in part was that there was the other variation of the video that had some circles and zooms and blurs on it that I think would have been more appropriate for the audience at large. People in the courtroom, we could see what was going on. We knew what we were looking at. I mean, it's pretty obvious. But to the public, with that video being displayed the way it was, it's not very easy to see unless you zoom in. So the video that the judge allowed to be admissible in court but not viewed by the public was a video that I think would have been a lot easier for people to digest online. But overall, I think it was incredibly powerful, and I think it was a sigh of relief that things were going in the right direction for the Charlie Kirk team.
I saw that you posted some kind of selfie videos, Brandon. I don't know if those are on break or whatever during today in the middle of the different breaks in the action. But you were talking about this theory of like the Patsy theory, and you were talking about could other people have been involved, and that we're still kind of dealing with this notion of, and I think this is coming from Candace, that she doesn't even believe that he was on campus that day, and she doesn't believe that this guy was the right height or whatever. Let's go ahead and play this clip, and I'll have you respond. 34.
What do you think is behind this?
I don't think Tyler Robinson was there.
You don't think he was there?
No.
During the shooting, like at the time of the shooting. Okay. That's what she means by there. Okay.
I think he's a total patsy. I think they get lookalikes and they get everybody wearing the same outfit. I think he played a role, and I believe that what he did was he picked up clothes and he dumped them behind the Dairy Queen.
Yep.
I think he had a role.
Yep.
What do you make of that?
So it's Officer Tatum I just saw. So when he smiled and he laughed, he's the one blowing in the freaking mic. Tater Tot, I thought you'd do this for a living, bro. Stop breathing in the mic, man. I had to listen to freaking Agent Hall all day. This grown man's voice crackles like he's going through puberty, and he either has fat cheeks or fat tongue, and you can hear the saliva and is like just smacking. They have the audio turned up so much on the courtroom mic, and you can hear like it's just like, I don't know if you guys know this. I do have misophonia, and I just all day today, I was trying to find a way that I could listen to it without like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you get goosebumps and it just makes you just like, you can't handle it. It's just so bad. Oh my gosh.
Well, I think people should be able to digest this information and say, if a person is going to say he wasn't even there, he was a patsy, and there's no evidence whatsoever presented to back that claim up.
Yeah, the evidence that you're using to say that Tyler Robinson was there is the same evidence that we're saying actually kind of proves that he wasn't there on campus at the time of the shooting. Yeah, we've admitted that he clearly was there at 8:30 in the morning.
Then you should probably question where the person is getting their information from. It is clear as the noonday sun he was on campus 4 times.
Nope.
And for him being a body double or something like that, even the defense isn't arguing this. The thing that people need to understand is that how is somebody who's not associated with the case, has no investigative skills, is not investigating anything, any substantive thing, going to argue something that the defense isn't even arguing. They're not arguing that Tyler Robinson wasn't on campus. The
defense isn't arguing anything, you moron. This is the preliminary hearing. The prosecution is laying out what they say is enough evidence to go to trial, and the defense gets to cross-examine and ask questions of the witnesses, to object to certain pieces of evidence being admitted, to poke holes in their narrative and their theory of the case. They're not presenting their theory of the case. This guy's such a tool.
Not arguing against that. The funny thing that I found in this trial.
That's such a good point, Brandon. That's such a good point.
It's really not.
Another thing is as well is that the prosecution is saying Tyler Robinson is here. Tyler Robinson did this. This is Tyler Robinson on campus. And the defense isn't even objecting to it, because you would think that the defense will object to it because there's still a probable cause hearing. They haven't determined that they have probable cause to believe yet that Tyler Robinson isn't.
So the defense has been objecting to everything, to all admittance of evidence. I don't know if they can object to the language in which the prosecution is using. Different witnesses are going to say alleged suspect, alleged shooter, individual suspect on the roof. They're not all saying Tyler Robinson every single time. McBride is, and the other guy, the other prosecution attorney does. I don't know if it's even allowed for the defense to object to them using his name. That's obviously their case. They clearly charged Tyler Robinson. Okay. They clearly believe this evidence is pointing to Tyler Robinson. That's the point of the preliminary hearing, is that they're saying this evidence proves we have enough to keep this guy in jail and go to trial. They clearly believe all of the evidence they're presenting is pointing to Tyler Robinson. And now they're trying to say that, because the defense doesn't object to them saying Tyler's name, it proves that they agree with the prosecution, that all this evidence actually proves that it's Tyler Robinson. That's such a stupid argument. And these guys do this kind of stuff all day, every day. Hey, Pops, good to see you. Love you, man. Hey, son, Mom and I are not Mossad. Nah, we know that. Blessing to your viewers and subscribers. Love you, Pop. My dad said that because my dad's Jewish. He's my wife's dad, but yeah, no, we know. I know. Yeah. But you guys know he's not Mossad. He'd be good, but he's not. He's you guys maybe get to meet him someday. Either when tell Mom you got to move up here, Pops. Everybody wants you guys to move up here. We just got to get Mom on board. So maybe we'll do a dual show someday with me and Pops. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Back to these idiots. Here we go.
Fact, that suspect. But the defense isn't even objecting to the prosecution claiming this is Tyler Robinson. He did this, he did that, he walked here. And I'll tell you something else that the defense messed up on, because they're not doing an adequate job when it comes to this, is that she tried to be impartial when she said a suspect jumps off of the roof. Then she says, and then he did this.
This guy is literally... First of all, I do not know how this guy passed any kind of test to be no offense to any, not this. It doesn't take a lot to become a service member in the military. You can get a pretty, basic job if you get a low ASVAB score. The Army kind of takes a lot of people. So does the Marine Corps, let's say criminals too, Cops are kind of the same way. You don't have to be the smartest tool, the sharpest tool in the shed, the smartest person in your class to become a cop. Officer Tatum's a moron. Go look at the figure walking down the stairs and up the stairs. It's clearly a guy. What do you want her to say? The person running and jumping off that roof is running faster than Usain Bolt, and he jumps off and absorbs jumping 13.5 feet and doesn't fall. His butt bounces off the ground and he just gets up like he's got an exoskeleton on. He's just and then he just walks away. No offense, ladies. Most athletic men can't dangle from the roof with one hand, and then just jump down, absorb it, and then run away. Yeah, it's obviously a male. He's she said he. Catherine Nestor said he, therefore she clearly knows it's Tyler. That's how dumb this guy is, dude.
It's well, wait a minute. I thought you were articulating that this is a common and impartial person. How do you know if it's a male or a female? None of these things have been presented yet.
Male,
why are you saying he? It's because they know for a fact that it was Tyler Robinson. And at least I think they believe it was Tyler Robinson. And those things are being brought up in court. I encourage people to look at the evidence. Quit listening to people online.
It's nothing new, you guys. It's the same thing that we've seen the last 9 months. The evidence, the mountain of evidence. If 90% of the evidence got thrown out, we'd still have 10%. And that 10% of evidence would convict Tyler Robinson because there's so much evidence. It's piles and piles and piles of evidence. And then we go okay, now we're going to look at the evidence and we're that's the evidence? That grainy photo? That grainy video? That doesn't look like anyone distinctly. The Losi Center jumping off the roof video, who knows who the heck that is? And even the guy walking down the stairs and up the stairs. Oh, let me see if I could find, let's see. Did I save it where they're like, this guy forgot which side to limp on? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. It was hilarious. Oh no, did I not? Is it on my profile and not in my bookmark? Let's see. Dang it, I didn't. What an idiot. What happens when you like it? If you like it, does it keep it? No. I thought for sure that I bookmarked it. This dude had an entire, oh, I think this is it. Is this? No, that's just him walking down. Dang it. Where's the one where he was like limping? Well, I guess I could just explain it to you. In one of the videos, Eagle Boy is limping with his right leg. And then in another video where he doesn't realize that the camera's back there in the stairwell, picking him up, walking that way, he's limping on with his left leg. He can't even remember which leg to limp with. Not to mention a freaking Mauser, dude, fully assembled, because like they're implying it's fully assembled because he's not limping in both legs. He doesn't have part of it down one leg, part of it down the other leg. He's limping with one leg. He's got it down and it's like up the side, supposedly. You're not going to be able to bend your leg at all. At all. He's bending his leg. He totally is. And this is the other thing. Eagle Boy was told to wear those clothes, go on campus at that time, and limp around. He doesn't have anything in his pocket. You can see the keys in one pocket and the cell phone in the other pocket, and you can't see the outline of a Mauser down his leg. Shut up. Are you kidding? And that's when they wanted to imply like, oh, no, it's in the backpack. And then we all saw everyone break down the rifle and put it in an extra large backpack, and the butt stock and the freaking the tip of the rifle, I can't believe my brain right now, is still sticking out. It doesn't get concealed in a backpack. It's not down his leg. They told whoever this dude is to go walk on campus at this time, walk around. Here's the other crazy thing. When we get to that video, they want you to believe that the rifle's down his pants and he's limping. He's limping on the right leg. Then he switches. He limps on the left leg. He can't remember which leg it's down. Then he gets onto the roof. Previous documents, court documents, said that upon climbing over the roof, he walks over to behind, on top of the Losi Center, there's that other building that sticks up and it's got like glass windows around it. It is that building that when Eagle Boy, after the Big Bang, runs behind and jumps off. Well, initial documents in the court documents, like the probable cause affidavit and the charging documents, say that upon making it onto the roof over the railing, the suspect walks over behind that building, disappears for 8 minutes, like changes his clothes, assembles the rifle, and then supposedly he runs to the corner of the Losi Center roof, gets in a low crawl, crawls out to the corner of the roof, and then takes the shot. That's not what we saw today. What we see, and I'll show you, is the guy climbs over the railing and runs straight to the corner, which is more in line with what, remember the suspect, the guy, or not suspect, remember the witness that Candace talked about that was down on the left side of the Losi Center, and he took the camera footage of the guy, and he's like, the guy just ran out from there, and now he's laying down there. And that individual, I guess, did speaking with the authorities. It must have been after Candace announced that they hadn't reached out to him, because today they say that he did. But also what's interesting is that guy reports, you'll hear Catherine Esther say, that guy reported that the dude was in like full tactical gear, and they thought it was part of the police overwatch that was up there. And they didn't see a long wooden 1940 era Mauser. They saw like a smaller tactical like AR, and they didn't see a recoil. They didn't see a muzzle flash. They didn't hear anything. Yeah. So I don't think the guy that's on the roof did anything except for climb over, run out, lay down, wait. Big bang happens because it came from here, in my opinion. Then the guy gets up and runs and jumps off the roof. I don't even think he necessarily had a rifle. I don't know what's in his hand. We don't see it in the footage.
Especially those who do not have law enforcement experience or experience doing investigations, or those who won't even interview people with experience. You have to put those things together. So listen to what's going on in the hearing, make the determination on your own, but it has to be rooted in facts and it has to be rooted in evidence.
Yeah, I think what we'll see, we've seen it the last few days, and we will see it in the weeks, months, potentially years to come, is that people who are committed to this line of reasoning that Robinson is a patsy, that Robinson wasn't there, that no one fired a shot from the top of that building. I don't think they're really motivated by believing a particular source. I think they're motivated, frankly, by malice. They want to believe a certain line, and they genuinely don't care what the evidence is. But fortunately, I think most people aren't going in that direction. I wanted to flag another thing that was very strong.
We'll get to that. I just got to address this moron. What the heck? I didn't drag that out the way. That's crazy. Hopefully it didn't mess anything up on the screen. I didn't mean to move the tab. All I did was click on it. I need to move it back over. Sorry. We're not motivated by malice. We're looking at the evidence that's been presented from, September 10th to today. And I'm being honest. Like, when I look at this stuff, I do not come to the conclusion that the prosecution has come to. I don't want to believe that there's this greater conspiracy, that all of these people around Charlie are evil people, and that they all conspired together, whether that be, they had compartmentalized information, need to know. They had handlers and that were unwitting. They didn't know what they were being used for. There's connections to our government and our federal agencies and back to Israel. I don't want to believe that. Like, that's just what it looks like. And I'm just being honest. I do have a brain. It is connected to my brainstem. And I'm just being honest. I'm not motivated by malice. I don't think any of us are. You can't excuse all of the behavior that you've seen. As sure as they are today, you have to remember this is how sure they were immediately. Erica Kirk, Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, Mikey McCoy, all of them, Frank Turek, they were positive immediately that it was the FedSlop narrative. This isn't after 9-10 months of getting to see more of the evidence and hear more of the evidence, and they have a better informed decision. No, it is the exact same amount and identical evidence that was there at the beginning when they already formed their opinion and conclusion immediately. Okay. So, and then you take into account all of their really, really weird behaviors, their inconsistencies, their contradictions, their lies. They've been caught in lies, their gaslighting. Why would innocent people do that have nothing to do with this? Everything does point to a bigger, grander conspiracy. Sadly, it just does, and that's just the world we live in today, man.
Besides the 4 times on campus, I think this gets at the crux of why we can be so confident in this case that they actually asked Investigator Hull, did you guys have a suspect in this case until you got news that someone had turned himself in? And he said the answer is no. In fact, I think we didn't get a chance to play that earlier. Let's play it now. They're asking about this. This is clip 17.
And isn't it fair to say that as of the moment that Tyler Robinson voluntarily surrendered to authorities in Washington County, as of that moment, you all did not know who the shooter was? Is that right?
We had identified a person of interest, but we did.
Okay, so this is Sonic the Hedgehog here, Agent Hall. For those of you British viewers, he's British. There's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't know that, like, you could be a dual citizen and be a cop. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, because there's people that are like, okay. Anyway, this is the guy that his voice cracks like every 10 seconds, and he needs to drink more water, move away from the mic, and stop annoying me.
Not specifically know who the shooter was at that time.
Okay. And you became aware that Mr. Robinson was voluntarily surrendering how? How did you become aware of that?
That information came originally, I believe, from the Washington County Sheriff to the administration at the control center at the university on the evening of the investigation, or the second evening of the investigation.
So that just lays it out. They did not, he didn't get arrested because they'd identified him through a story we've already heard that his parents became suspicious.
They
brought in
pictures of him.
a friend. I believe they said it was a scoutmaster of his who had
a
law enforcement,
former sheriff's deputy,
something like that.
Yeah.
They loop.
He almost said informant. So look, you guys, his parents didn't turn him in. Okay. That's not the same thing. If his parents and this former scoutmaster, this LDS, family friend that's also a former police officer of some way, shape, or form, they were in communication with one another when they ever. Can you imagine? I don't know if we have anyone that is part of this community that lives in like Provo or Orem or in that area of Utah, of like if they can remember about like what was being broadcast on the news in those first 33 hours, what kind of, emergency messages were going out on people's phones. And it was going to become clear if Tyler is a smart kid, which we know he is, and if he knew that he had played some sort of part in this, and then what images were being released, right? And the narrative that was coming out, who they were really focusing on. And he's like, out of all the people, out of like the 5 or however many people that were involved in this, they seem to be focusing on me, right? And if the LDS family friend also was getting whispers through the police community that they were headed in that direction with this person, it's just like a natural next step that they're going to reach out to him, parents and this LDS family friend, and tell him the best thing to do is turn yourself in. And they surrendered. He didn't turn himself in, right? He surrendered to the authorities because it was probably the only way to keep himself alive.
Him into the part of the process, and he turns himself in.
He calls and said, "Hey, if he turns himself in peacefully, can we do it that way?" They agreed. He goes and turns himself in,
and they didn't. They had their command center at the university did not know. They had a person of interest. Presumably, they'd identified this person they'd seen on cameras,
yes,
so they were
exactly.
releasing photos. But I think my interpretation of that was they did not have a name.
They didn't have a name.
They didn't have a particular person they were on a manhunt for.
Well,
and then they learned that he had voluntarily turned himself in. And that's the defense. That's the defense attorney saying that Tyler Robinson turned himself in. And that's enough.
No, that he surrendered himself to the authorities, you guys. It's nuts. And so the same guy that they're trying to say like, we should believe him, Agent Hall, also was the head investigator in this, detective or whatever investigator in this for the SBI, State Bureau of Investigation. He wasn't aware that they gave the tent back to TPUSA, the tent that Charlie Kirk was assassinated under. That was released back to TPUSA without them knowing. The evidence that was collected from Charlie Kirk's person during the autopsy was given back to Erica without them knowing. The crime scene was covered up, so the dirt was removed, and then the paver company came in and did the what are those things called? Paving stones or whatever those called. I forget what it's called. Pavers. It was covered up without him knowing. He wasn't notified. He didn't give his permission, or he didn't give, authority to anyone to do that. The same guy doesn't know anything. Okay. And he's the one that also gets up there and is like, the guy yesterday and then today saying that, like, for sure it's a rifle. You can't see what's underneath that blanket or towel, you freaking moron. So I don't trust this guy at all saying that they didn't have a suspect. They have to say that. They have to say that, no, they're impartial. They're being objective. They didn't jump to conclusions. They were keeping all possibilities open. We even interviewed other suspects. Well, not really, right? What about the dude, Qureshi or whatever, the guy that was going to hospital with the rifle, like that was going to like finish the job? Whatever happened to that guy? They didn't follow all leads. Okay. They were honing in on Tyler right away. It became obvious. And the best thing for Tyler and his parents to do was to get him to surrender peacefully so they didn't Lee Harvey Oswald him.
Another thing that these people online have tried to deny ever happened.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, this is incredibly damning to the defense. When you have no idea who the person is, why would a person that had nothing to do with this voluntarily turn himself in? It's not like they had his name, right? It's not like they said, Tyler Robinson did it, we're looking for this guy.
We don't know what they did internally. I don't even know what was happening in Utah at the time. We know, like, you guys think about this. If you guys followed the Las Vegas shooting, a lot of stuff was happening in Vegas in local news, within the community that never made it out. National news doesn't broadcast things that local smaller channels do. My father-in-law could even attest to this. Like, he was a local news broadcaster for Palmdale for many years. But when you reference like Ian Carroll's covering of the Las Vegas shooting, there was a lot of things they were concealing and not letting information out of the local area. And a lot of people that started creating their own channels that were locals there were saying, like, the national news isn't telling the truth about all this. And I bet you the same thing's the case here. Okay. But Tyler didn't turn himself in. He surrendered himself. It was and what did he say? Oh, man, I got off track. Brandon just said something that I wanted to point out. Let me just back up just a smidge.
Is voluntarily turn himself in. It's not like they had his name, right? It's not like,
oh, he said that someone that had nothing to do with this. None of us ever claimed that Tyler had absolutely nothing to do with this. Obviously, in our opinion, he had something to do with this. That's why he would even consider surrendering himself, because he probably saw that they were pinning it on him, that he's one that played a peripheral role, but they clearly, at some point, this smart kid was like, holy smokes, they set me up, bro. They set me up. Freaking Twigs set me up. Twigs went dark on him. He's been dark ever since. He was immediately an informant went into protective custody. Now he has immunity. He's going to be the star witness for the prosecution. I think it clicked really fast for Tyler. Like, oh my gosh, when he heard about the screwdriver, when he heard about the rifle, when he heard about the towel, all of those things in the early days would have been indications of they were looking for Tyler Robinson. Oh yeah, that's true, right? They did say this is the rifle. They were honing in on Tyler as a suspect early on. Whether they said his name immediately or not, clearly this stuff that was coming out early on, like this screwdriver and this rifle, like, he would have been smart and been like, oh my gosh, bro, they totally set me up.
they said, Tyler Robinson did it, we're looking for this guy. And then he said, okay, y'all got me. I'm gonna turn myself in without incident. No, this person voluntarily said, I am surrendering, taking responsibility for killing Charlie Kirk.
Didn't take responsibility. He surrendered himself. He didn't admit to anything. He hasn't pled guilty. He asked for a lawyer, and then he was silent. Okay, he's doing what he would do, and he realized that he was being framed for this.
I don't understand how anybody's still questioning whether or not this boy is involved in this. He voluntarily did it. This flies in the face of the theory that he's somehow being used by somebody else.
No, it's
if
not.
somebody turned him in, meaning somebody snitched and said, hey, it was him, and they went and picked him up.
That's kind of what Lance Twiggs did, actually, you freaking idiot. Lance Twiggs did do that. He went into protective custody right away, became the star witness right away, and was pointing at Tyler Robinson right away.
And it happened that way, then I can see somebody saying he's a patsy or something. But why would your parents, who love you, presumably, I see them in the courtroom, and they go, I'm just going to make this up. I'm going to act like my son did this.
They never said Tyler admitted. They never said they thought Tyler did it. All of that was made up in the beginning, you guys, and they've just been retelling it every day ever since.
Heinous crime that's going to put him in a bad life for the rest of his life. It's going to go down in history if he's found guilty.
It's the only way to keep him alive, for sure. And they knew that.
That he killed one of the most incredible men to ever live in the United States of America. And you telling me his parents just turn him in because one day they just got a wild hair and thought it'd be cool to turn their son in for this. And he could be put to death over this. I think the case is closed on that.
Absolutely. Joe Bob, I want to work you in here in just a second, but what we're talking about, I think, is a really important.
I'll get to it. Let me get to the super real quick that I saw. I missed it earlier. All right. We have Renata. Thank you so much for your super chat. Love your measured takes. TPUSA makes themselves the heroes of their own story. So everyone else must have evil intent for them to remain the good guys. Yeah, that's such a good take. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
And that is what the defense has already just sort of admitted to, that Tyler Robinson turned himself in.
Surrendered.
You know, it's like it's the dog that didn't bark kind of thing. You know, this is what's interesting. There was an analyst on Fox News who said it was a Mount Everest amount of evidence presented against Tyler Robinson.
So this is how stupid Andrew is. He's using the news that Charlie didn't trust, okay, especially towards the end, especially with like COVID and 9/11. And I mean, that's the whole reason why podcast it's alternative news, independent news, like network, right? Him saying that because Fox News, you know, went out and said there's a mountain of evidence and they have no dog in the fight. Oh, that clearly means there's a mountain of evidence is so stupid. TPUSA now, America's Voice now is the new Fox News. They've been bought. They've been co-opted. And of course, Andrew's an idiot and he uses Fox as a reference.
Robinson. And these are people that know prosecutions, that know criminal defense and prosecution. So, but it's crazy.
They're also the ones that came out and they're like weapons of mass destruction. They found a passport at the base of the Twin Towers.
Because like, what else is the defense not saying, right? They're not saying anything about exploding mics. They're not saying.
They're not allowed to right now, you freaking idiot. They're not providing their narrative. They are cross-examining the prosecution's witnesses and evidence that they're submitting. That's it. That's it. That's it. They don't get to present an argument and their narrative during the preliminary hearing, you idiot.
Saying anything about Egyptian planes. They're not saying anything about Mossad. They're not saying anything about regicide. They're not saying anything about any of that stuff. So I just like, to our point here, kind of like keeping us focused on what the evidence actually is saying to us. Now, I think I have more I want to say, but I was going to work in Joe Bob here. Joe Bob.
Well, I don't want to jump ahead too far in the day, but there's the commentary that I saw online. Is ever enough? Okay, so the DNA evidence, the video evidence, the admission of guilt, all of these things.
There was no admission of guilt. The DNA evidence is it's suspect. It's so suspect. We don't know for sure yet. I mean, I didn't get to watch all of. I got the ballistics. The DNA was later. But there's other people. Lance Twiggs's DNA was found on the towel, you guys, and other parts of pieces of evidence. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to have Tyler Robinson's DNA if things were taken from the apartment where Tyler took showers, washed his face, washed his hands, used a screwdriver to fix anything in the house. If that is the rifle, that was his grandfather's rifle, not the rifle. Obviously, no rifle was on the Losi Center, in my opinion, not a Mauser. But if that is Tyler's grandfather's rifle, it's going to have his DNA. It's going to have his fingerprints. This is what's so shady about these people. They're not presenting our side of our argument fully. They're trying to make us look like we're just tinfoil hat wearing idiots that are just believing anything Candace Owens says because she's Candace Owens. No, we are really deep thinkers, you freaking idiots. And we realize that the way this evidence has been collected, the chain of evidence that is lacking, and how it's being presented now as like just, you know, conclusive proof that it's Tyler Robinson is BS, because there's other ways these pieces of evidence could have been obtained and planted at the scene that doesn't point to Tyler Robinson being there and using them in the commission of this assassination. Oh, these guys, man.
It's all fake. It's.
I love that you brought this up, Joe Bob. I love that you brought this up. And Officer Tatum, I'm going to appeal to your experience as a police officer here.
I think Joe Bob's his real name. Always be true, sadly. Billy Joe Bob, you know, and he's got a freaking banjo in the back of his. Nothing wrong with a banjo. Nothing wrong. There's just something wrong with this guy named Joe Bob with a banjo on the back. I think, you know, you look at his set, you know who he's trying to be like? He's trying to be like Tucker Carlson. Look at his set and tell me he's not trying to look like he's like a Tucker Carlson. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Always be true for your super chat. Catching up, Joe Bob. Is that his nickname or real name? Come on, parents. Don't do that to your son. So who is he really exactly? He does a show, you know, like what's that guy's name that does a show at night? He's kind of funny. He's the one that said big booty Latinas. He, you know, the Charlie Kirk Show and Real America's Voice. They kind of have a show for every hour of the day. They're like always streaming shows. Most of them, if not all of them, well, all of them suck. They're really bad. Is it Alex Stein or something like that? I think, is that the guy's name? Something Stein, Alex Stein, that, you know, does the nighttime late night shows. But Joe Bob has his own show. He like works for TPUSA. Big surprise.
There, a lot has been made about this ring camera footage that shows Tyler Robinson's car going in front of it, and I guess the owner of the house remembers somebody bald with three people driving the car with three people in it or something to that effect.
Yep.
So everybody's saying, "Oh, see, it wasn't Tyler, you know, driving it or whatever." But the ring camera shows what actually happened, and that's that the car was driving by the house. So
all the ring doorbell camera, and we'll get to it when we get to the trial video, which we're just going to look at clips from the best parts of today. The ring doorbell is on the door, so it's set pretty far back from the street. It's at night, okay? It's only going to capture what's in front of it. And so if the car parks just outside of the view on that side, or if it was parked just outside the view on that side and then drives off, yes, all the ring doorbell is going to capture is the car driving, okay? But witness testimony, these two individuals living in the house said, well, they saw when the car parked, it was a middle-aged white dude with bald hair, or bald head, no hair, and two or three other people that got out of the car, not Tyler Robinson by himself. And now they're trying to say like, oh, this can't be trusted. Witness testimony, so unreliable.
Explain the difference between eyewitness testimony, recollections, you know, the human frailty of memory versus the video evidence pulled from that ring camera.
Well, thank you for going to me with this one, but I think that people have to understand that they're looking at the totality of evidence. In a actual trial, it's beyond a reasonable doubt.
They went to the wrong guy.
So there is a burden that you have to prove that's beyond a reasonable doubt. So you put all the evidence together, and this is why they don't just talk to the people that live in the house and get their written statements. That's why they have a video, because sometimes people in a haste, or people could be misidentifying certain things. That's why you can't go on their testimony alone either. You have to look at the video and say, okay, now we get what they have said. This is their ring camera, but what do we actually see? There are people that can look at, all of us can look at the same person, and we may get their height different. You go, hey man, I think that dude is 6'3". Somebody say 6'1", somebody say 5'10". You take the totality of evidence and you put it together and build a testimony of what happens. You don't take little parts here, parts there, and try to make a whole case on it. They're going to look at the vehicle as one element of placing him on campus, but they have a plethora of other evidentiary points where they see him here physically getting in and out of the car. The traffic stop that happened at 12:30 on the 11th, where a police officer identified the vehicle and him driving the vehicle around the same time that he's being, seen on the ring camera. So they're going to put all of this stuff together, and they're going to be able to present that before a jury, and they're going to have to prove beyond a reason.
So, and this is the same police departments that are engaged in that whole Lego thing, that brick and mortar franchise that they buy and resell Lego pieces, and they literally like stole $250,000 worth of Legos from this person that has like he's dying or sick or something, and had to sell his very rare Lego collection to like, you know, survive and pay bills. And then this one YouTuber came out to help him investigate and document it. And then the local police acted like a gang, like a mafia, like the mob, and were unlawfully detaining them, saying like, how you like Utah, buddy? Where's Ben or whatever his name was? How you doing? How you like it so far? We do it differently here in Utah. We roll differently. You get it? I mean, just thugs, man. So yeah, it's very likely that a lot of these guys are lying. We know from Officer Bradley from yesterday, this guy just has no problem making stuff up on the stand, you know. Oh, he totally had a rifle. You could see the rifle? Well, you know, you can see this long, skinny, pointy thing that, you know, looks like a rifle. No, you see a bag, you see a towel or a blanket or something. Yeah, but underneath you could tell it's like this thing. It's an object that, like, yeah, it looks like a rifle. Morons, dude. Morons. I don't know what's going on with my throat. Sorry. Behind Joe Bob, it's called a Jerusalem cross. Wait, is it really? Is that what that is? Is that really called a Jerusalem cross? That red cross? Well, I mean, isn't that from like the Knights Templar though? Right? Because they were guarding Jerusalem, right? Am I wrong? All right, let's hop over now to here. Let's hear some from today, okay?
Amid the chaos, had been contained and had been secured by the on-campus officers who were already on scene.
And what's your understanding of what the known scenes were? In other words, the area where there might potentially be evidence that you needed to process.
I know that the amphitheater area was cordoned off and managed as best it could with the number of people that were there. I was also made aware that there was a rooftop area that had been secured, and also an area off of the side of that building that had been secured by an officer.
Bro, his mouth is so dry. This is going to be so hard for me. He's so nervous. You can tell how nervous he is.
And that building was the Low-C building.
Correct.
Wasn't there also a bullet found on another building?
Yes.
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during my time there on September 10th. Yes.
Which building was that, sir?
I don't recall.
Was that considered a scene that was worth preserving?
It was not. My recollection is that was accounted for as an ejected cartridge from an officer who had cycled his rifle.
Okay, I thought you said it was an unfired bullet. And now you're saying it was a cartridge?
When a weapon is cleared, an officer would make his rifle ready, which would chamber around.
Oh, I got you.
My understanding was that that's how that was accounted for.
What's crazy is like all of these questions that she has, the lead investigator like goes, that's my understanding. I don't really know. That's what they told me. That's kind of the story that I was told. Like he doesn't know anything. And yes, I saw the question. Someone was like, yeah, this guy wasn't informed that they released the scene, like pieces of the crime scene back to TPUSA. They gave the tent away, the car. This guy didn't know anything. The FBI was running the show. Okay. The FBI and Governor Cox are the ones that told those, you know, people to come and remove 10 inches of the soil and then put the pavers down. This guy didn't even know. He found out through the news. Through the news. That's how he found out.
So an officer claimed that bullet belonged to him or her?
That's my recollection, is that was how it was accounted for.
And when was that accounted for?
I don't know specifically.
Do you remember what type of bullet that was?
I don't.
He doesn't.
Was it a
know.
30-06? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know where that bullet is now?
Nope.
I don't.
Okay. So you had the amphitheater area that had to be preserved. And how far out did that stretch? The entire amphitheater or just the area around the tent or what?
My understanding was the entire amphitheater area was cordoned off, and there were attempts to secure the campus itself with a perimeter of officers who were monitoring or preventing people coming and going.
When you arrived on the scene, were you aware that an individual had been taken into custody?
I had heard that, yes.
Did you ever have any interaction with that individual?
Bro, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can handle this guy and his freaking. I did it all day today. These guys are going to cover the big pieces, and then whatever we miss, we'll jump, and then I'll just go right to the points. I can't handle him right now.
Reasonable doubt. Now, I want people to be very clear on this because you can't put the cart before the horse. This pretrial is a probable cause hearing.
That's right.
So all of the evidence that's being presented now does not have to be tested against other experts and scrutinized and cross-examined. It just needs to be presented and eligible to be presented in a pretrial. So the win here would be probable cause being established to go to trial. Now, here's the other thing that could happen in this that I think people need to consider, because Tyler Robinson's team in the defense haven't put in a plea. So it could be a very likely scenario where if probable cause is established, they're not going to, I just don't see them having a chance in the court of law. And therefore, they may even plead guilty at the end of this probable cause hearing. So that's why sometimes it's referenced in the court that they're
just speculating. Oh, he may plead guilty.
Found on site. Let's go ahead and get this, and I want to get your take on it. 32.
The unfired bullet that you referred.
Oh, they're talking about the unfired bullet. All right, so let me go to this part where we're going to look at the footage from that day. Hold on, come on. It's like right. Oh my gosh, hold on. Do I have time, dude? This is going to be frustrating if this happens multiple times today. Hold on. Happens when you work all day and we don't end the show until like 10 something, and I haven't had time to delete all of the recordings from my local drive to clear more space. And I forgot until just now. For a lead investigator, he's an effing idiot. Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he's a moron. Thank you so much. Oh, what does it say? Scooch? Scooch. Thank you, Scooch. He is an effing idiot.
With this gait, this limp, I found it to be one of the most compelling moments. And then the next piece in the compilation, you know, we all know we have the time stamp in our head, 12:23. That's when Charlie was killed, 12:23. And you're looking at the timestamp on the video as he's going up onto the roof. I mean, this is extraordinarily compelling. Go ahead and play cut 4.
This is a video of Mr. Robinson returning back to campus the same way that he did previously on foot.
You believe this is Mr. Robinson returning to campus?
I do, yes.
Okay. And what do you believe is Mr. Robinson?
All right, I'm trying to fix the audio. That's just this dude's audio on his mic is turned up so freaking loud. And he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. He's going to tell you why he believes this is Tyler Robinson. Wait till you hear what this moron says.
The shoes are the same. And the images that we have are from my viewing and seeing Mr. Robinson on the video, it's the same person.
So he's saying the shoes are the same from the 8:30 a.m., which is a video of Tyler Robinson. I think that's the only time he was on campus. And then he's like, oh, and then the other footage that we have that, in our opinion, isn't Tyler Robinson, like going under the breezeway, the tunnel. Oh, no, that is him going under the tunnel. But like the Losi Center roof and yeah, what's the other one where he's climbing up and going up the stairs? There's no other. Oh, there is one other footage when this person parks the car and walks out of the parking garage, which we'll get to. But he's just referencing other video that doesn't conclusively show that it's Tyler Robinson and saying like, oh, it's because it looks just like that guy that we say is Tyler Robinson. And he's wearing the same shoes. Like, two guys can't have gray Converse Chuck Taylors on. It's freaking ridiculous. His reasoning as why he's convinced it's Tyler Robinson.
He's noticeably wearing different clothing.
He is wearing different clothing, and he also is walking with a gait or a limp in this video.
With a gait or what?
A limp.
All right. In this side, he's bending his left leg or his right leg. In another video, he'll be limping with his left leg. He's also still bending it. Have you guys seen the video where this, I don't know if it's like a father and son, but it's like an older guy and like a young, I don't know, like teenager, 18, 19-year-old. They take like a pretty similar style hunting rifle. It may be a modern version of a 30-06 like Mauser or Springfield, something like that. And they put it in his pant leg, and it goes like all the way up, and you can see it's like bulging out. He can't bend his leg at all. Okay. He walks up and down these stairs. It doesn't look like how Eagle Boy's doing it. Like, Eagle Boy is still bending his leg. You can see it. He bends his leg. He bends his right leg, and then later he bends his left leg. In one of the times he's going up the stairs, he's not bending his right leg, and then the other one he is. And it's like he can't make up his mind. Which one am I supposed to be limping on? It's insane. Scooch. When I watched today, I was screaming at the TV. He didn't know anything or anybody. No collaboration. No idea what was happening. Duh. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think really what you really see today, more so than yesterday. I mean, yesterday was the beginning of like, okay. And did you guys ever see like the Stephen Avery Netflix documentary, Making a Murderer? I don't want to get into a debate on that, but I think what that shows you is how easily people could be framed. Okay. Whether it's his initial case that he for sure ended up being, he was framed for and acquitted, and then he was being granted like millions of dollars that was going to bankrupt the county. And then all of a sudden, then he gets arrested for this, the murder that put him in prison and he's still there, and his nephew is really tragic. But it shows you what the FBI, the ATF, their crime lab, local police, and the prosecutors and judges, even what they'll do to frame someone. Okay. And I think we're seeing the same thing play out here.
Okay. So it's Mr. Robinson coming up the stairs of the parking structure. Again, he seems to be having issues walking.
So they can't say like, I don't know why they're dancing around it. They're not going to say like, yes, he has the rifle in his pants. They say like he has a gait. He walks with a limp. He's having issues walking. They know they're implying that the rifle is down the pants, but I don't hear them say it.
And again, were you able to track Mr. Robinson when he leaves this parking structure?
Yes, we were able to.
You see that, guys? So now he's limping with his left leg, and his right leg is bending. Okay.
So that is presumably what's causing the gait is that he has the weapon or a portion of the weapon stuffed down his pant leg. You can even see the outline, it seems. Well,
it seems you could even see the outline. It seems. Could you guys see an outline of any rifle? Could you guys see anything? No. And what's really interesting is like, ask yourselves this: why in the first 33 hours when they were trying to find Tyler Robinson, why didn't they ever release the videos? Why did they release still photographs of this video? Why did they do that? this video is at least better in helping to identify the possible shooter. I don't think it's not Tyler Robinson, in my opinion, but like, why would they have just taken like screenshots, still photographs of this video? Explain that to me. Why didn't they actually just upload the video for us all to watch? Watch how the guy moves and everything. They didn't do it.
How compelling is that to you as somebody who's outside of our orbit? I want to make sure, I want to be totally dispassionate here.
You're not.
And you're just balls and strikes.
It's not balls and strikes. I'm not going to let this guy talk. This guy's an idiot too. He's like the Andrea Burkhart of the men. No offense. Sorry, guys. She's just totally fed slop in it. What's crazy is that he's like, oh yeah, you totally see the outline of the rifle. No, you don't. You don't see anything.
Applicable, like to a normal person. Like clearly there's something in his pants, and that is.
Oh my gosh. Don't let Erica Kirk see your library. She's going to freak out. She loves your books. Oh my gosh. Don't let her see this video. She's going to just like, oh my gosh, I love James Cadiz's, your library, all your books. She's going to gush over you. She wants to read all these books. Watch out. She's coming. We just see her bust through this door.
They done.
And as he said there, they're saying, how do you know it's Tyler Robinson? And first he says basically the same shape of person
the shoes
as they had.
You guys, I don't know where they find these people. This guy, the glasses, not Blake, the other idiot on the other side. Andrew's in the middle of a friggin' moron sandwich with the biggest moron in the middle, where they're like, how did they know for sure that it was him? You know, they were so sure it's Tyler Robinson. And then they're like, because of his build? Oh, because of his shoes. His shoes, Andrew says. I forget. I think either Barron or someone like found out like how many of those Chuck Taylors are in circulation right now, like in America. And there's like hundreds of thousands of shoes like that. Like it's a pretty common shoe for people that age. Like, shut up, bro. They identified him because of his build, because of his shoes. Give me a break, morons.
Earlier, and he said they had the same shoes. So changed his shirt, changed out of his shorts to get into his, basically long sleeve, long pants so you can hide stuff under your clothes.
Oh, really?
But still has the same shoes, wearing sunglasses, otherwise the same shaped person. And of course, as we know, he then walks to the roof of that student center, gets onto it.
We have this, and I think this is the clip where you can see the timestamp. Again, all of us know Charlie was killed at 12:23.
Yes, we do.
We'll never get that number out of our head. All right. And so to watch the timestamp of the video and you watch him get up there, it's very compelling. Let's just say that.
Andrew just keeps saying very compelling. And we're looking at the same freaking video and going like, there's nothing compelling about this video. You don't even know who that is. Like, what are you talking about?
Top 5.
And what time is this?
It's just afternoon.
Okay. All right. So this one we haven't seen before. All right. And what you want to see is, okay, the staircase. Can you guys see my little pink pointer? Hopefully you can. He's going to come up the stairs right over here. He's going to climb over a railing. Okay. And then he's going to run straight out to the corner and lay down supposedly in the prone position right away. So what he doesn't do, like the court documents say, is he doesn't climb over and then walk over here where the building is over here, disappear for 8 minutes, and then run out there after assembling the rifle. So let's watch.
12:15
On what day?
on September 10th, 2025.
Okay. What just happened, or what did we just see happen?
The individual actually kind of rolls over the railing onto the roof of the lower building.
All right.
Wait, what? Why did go back, moron?
And again, in the top left corner, the individual is now seen running across the rooftop of the Losi building.
There he is.
To what would be the southwest corner.
Okay, so in the original documents, what it said was he climbed over the railing and then runs over here, is behind the building for like 8 minutes, and then runs out and then low crawls into the shooting position. What we just saw was he climb over, and then they cut to this video, and now they show him running straight out to the shooting position. And he's just such a small dot. He's like way out there.
Crouching down and then crawling to the corner of the building.
Can you still see that individual?
Yes, you can, laying prone.
All right. So what I kind of, my opinion is that, you know how we thought that they clearly would have captured the shot on this CCTV camera, surveillance camera. No, it's like really far away. It's wide angle lens. The zooming in is done after the fact in editing, like when he does the running and jumping off. Even if they zoom in all the way, it's going to be so bad quality. They're not going to be able to see anything. You're not going to be able to see anyone taking, in my opinion, you're not going to be able to see a shot or a recoil or a muzzle flash. There's no audio on this. It's just video. So even better for them. They don't have to prove that they saw or didn't see. They just like, look, there he is. He's out there. It's the right time. That's where we're saying we heard the shot. That's where we're saying, people heard the shot and where they had a direct line of sight. So that's clearly him. Let me read this real quick. Chuck Taylors are the best-selling sneaker of all time, with an estimated 550 million plus pairs sold worldwide. That's horrible evidence. Deal with it. So good. Hey, you. That's so good. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah. And that's what they're like, concrete evidence. He's got the same shoes. He's a male. He's a white Caucasian man with Chuck Taylors. It's clearly him.
Laying prone. And then
laying prone. You can't even see.
Got another clip here.
You can't even see from that video that he's laying prone. You can't see anything. He's like as big as an ant.
Well, but just to highlight what you said, the roll over. Because, again, he's got the gait, something stuffed down his pants. He's not walking normal, so he kind of rolls over.
Can't stick his leg over the normal way.
Yeah. When did he take the rifle out of his pants, moron? Do you know how hard it would be to take a fully assembled rifle out of your pants? Okay. You're going to have to like totally like lift your shirt up and over it, expose the buttstock. And then you're going to have to like a 2x4, you're going to have to pull it out of your pants until the total tip of the barrel is past your waistband, so it doesn't get snagged on your waistband. And you have to pull it out and then pull it in front of you so that you can run. And that's if like the scope is still on and it doesn't get snagged. We don't see that. This guy like rolls over the railing and is immediately in a dead sprint to the corner to the shooting position. It's so stupid.
To get onto the low C building there. And then here's the next clip in the sequence of him then fleeing the roof. SOT 6.
You believe this to be Mr. Robinson?
I'm sorry?
You believe this to be Mr. Robinson?
I do, yes.
And how long is he out there on the edge of the building?
Just until the reported shot was fired at 12:23:28. The individual then stands up and then moves across the building to the north.
Is that what we're seeing happening right now?
It is, yes. They move behind the atrium area on the rooftop to the northeast corner where the white triangle is.
Where is the area? Little dot.
Do you see Mr. Robinson now?
I do, yes.
Like they say, do you see Mr. Robinson? You can't tell who that is, you freaking idiots.
He's just arriving at the corner of the building, the almost top center of the image.
What are we seeing now?
Mr. Robinson lowering and jumping off of the roof of the low seat building onto the grass area, and then moving away towards Campus Drive.
Yeah, and supposedly nobody saw him with a rifle running away from campus. Is nuts. Is just nuts. All right, let me go back to here. Let me find. Here's the other thing, you guys, and I don't want to. All right, hopefully you guys are okay with this. So I explained this yesterday. When we're watching this live throughout the day, because it's not a finished video, the whole duration of the video is not done, the timestamps are only up to that point. So it tells you like this is happening at the 55-minute mark. Well, if it's only at 55 minutes, right? That's not going to be the timestamp. When the video is done and it's at 7 hours, it's a completely different timestamp. So there's no way that I was able to timestamp this throughout the day. You know, this went throughout the whole day. So I have to like try to find the parts where I know where they are based on like their movements and what they were doing. Hopefully you guys are okay with me trying to find the parts that I'm looking for. All right. Let's see.
I did not.
And were you advised at any point that that person was no longer a person of interest?
Information was passed down that the individual was not considered to be a suspect in the shooting.
And when was that, time-wise?
I don't recall specifically, but I know I was on campus when I had heard.
So whoever arrested him as a potential suspect got that wrong. He wasn't the actual suspect, right?
Sorry, got what wrong?
That he was the shooter.
The person I believe to be the shooter was not the individual who was taken into custody, correct?
And then was there anybody else taken into custody as a person of interest?
There were several people who were detained for questioning and who were interviewed throughout the investigation.
And none of those people were they were all ultimately cleared by you or somebody connected with you.
Correct.
And were there any other guns confiscated on the scene that day?
There were other firearms that were located on the scene, yes.
How many guns were confiscated that day?
I don't know specifically confiscated, but I know that there was a firearm found in a backpack that was accounted for during the day.
And I wonder if that's the same. So in the Adam Bartholomew video, I don't have it pulled up. Let's see. Actually, I might be able to if I can. Let me see something. Hold on. There is, I don't want to lose my spot with these other ones. If I bring up another tab, it's going to be so ridiculous. Oh, hold on. All right. I'll just tell you. Okay. In the Adam Bartholomew video, he's the guy, he's one of the guys that was filming the whole time during, you know, he's up on above the Hall of Flags when the bang goes off, and then he goes down to the bottom. And so if I'm Charlie, to Charlie's left at the top row of the amphitheater, like, you know, the grass steps up like that at the very top, someone, and also another video, saw someone take off running right after the shot away when everyone's ducking. But at the top over there, there's a backpack that was dropped and left, and people around that are like pointing at the backpack, like trying to call over police. And you can't hear what they're saying, but I think they're indicating that somebody was there and did something and then left that backpack there. And I'm wondering if that's the backpack where they found a gun inside of the backpack, but we know that they found some gun inside of a backpack. And yeah, they didn't chase down all of the leads, you know, and suspects. This isn't the part that I want to get to. I got to jump up a little bit. Hold on. Let's see right here.
By Utah County Attorney's Office.
Okay, but were there more that you haven't seen in this courtroom, in this prelim?
Oh, here we go. Let me back up.
There's the original footage.
Okay. But were there other angles that are not shown here in this prelim?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to.
So they're talking about the all of the footage that was released from Terrell Farnsworth and their Visual Impulse company, because yesterday only some footage was shown, and she's asking, are there other angles that up to this point in this hearing you guys have that we haven't seen? And then he's such an idiot. It's like, how do I know exactly what she's saying the first time? And this guy's like, what are you saying? Wait, you know, and then he goes, oh, yeah, we have more. Okay. All right, dude.
Thank you. All right. Were you involved when the gun was located in the forest area?
I was not involved in the search for the gun, no.
Did you get notice when it was located?
From the footage that we reviewed, we identified an area that we believed could be potentially.
Notice that he doesn't answer the questions. She asks a very easy question. Were you involved? Were you notified? And then he goes into this Erica Kirk answer. It's crazy.
Evidentiary value. And then it was secured. And then I was notified that as a result of that search, a gun had been located, yes.
Were you involved in the processing of that gun? In other words,
I was not.
boxing it, shipping it, sending it wherever it was going to go to be
I was
analyzed?
not, no.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I want to shift to the autopsy for just a moment. You were not present at the autopsy, is that right?
I was not.
Okay. So anything you know about the autopsy was not from personal observation?
No, other than from my meeting with the medical examiner and his report. No, I was not present.
Did you meet with the medical examiner after he had conducted the autopsy?
I did, yes.
And when you met with him, did you provide him information about what you all had learned in your investigation so far?
We didn't have any reason to provide any investigative information to him. The purpose of the meeting was to establish what information he could provide to us.
Well, in fact, on the front page of the medical examiner's report, he talks about the investigation and information he learned. Did he learn that from you or did he learn it from someone else?
It would be my recollection that he did not learn that from us, but I couldn't speak to how he did learn about it.
Okay. So you didn't share with him your conclusions about what happened or how Mr. Kirk was injured or anything like that?
That's my recollection.
Okay. Thank you. And isn't it also true that fingerprints that were taken from Mr. Kirk and autopsy photos were provided to you on a CD?
Yes.
Was there anything else provided to you from the autopsy other than that?
Other than the CD and the report?
Yes.
Not to me, no.
Okay. You did mention not to you. Were you aware of anything else from the autopsy going to anyone else?
I believe standard practice is anything of evidentiary value that the medical examiner collects is transferred through a chain of custody.
And are you aware of anything that was transferred after Mr. Kirk's autopsy?
I'm aware that there were items transferred for evidence, yes.
What items?
I believe some fragments of a bullet casing. I know Mr. Kirk's personal items to be
It's the bullet jacket, fragments of the bullet jacket, not the casing.
returned to the family. That's all I can recall off the top of my head.
Do you know how many?
All right, that was the other thing, right? So pieces of personal belongings and other things that were either on Charlie Kirk's person were released back to Erica. Probably the phone. I think Charlie had his phone in one of his pockets, possibly. Whatever else Charlie had on him, I don't know. But pieces that were there during the autopsy, items were released to Erica.
Fragments from the bullets?
I don't.
There's supposed to be 4.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Ring camera that you obtained. And you interviewed a woman named Ms. Noble, is that right? To get that Ring camera that we watched with the car on the outside?
We interviewed her to verify the authenticity of the video, yes.
And this is important. This is where she's going to point some things out.
And were you involved in that interview?
With Miss Noble, yes.
And do you recall what they told you about what they remember seeing in and around that car that night?
I don't recall. I just know we were there to verify the video. I didn't conduct an interview with Miss Noble at that time.
Okay. Can we please bring up whole? Sorry, just a moment. Let's see. Whole 48. This is Miss Noble's interview. Do you have it?
Sorry,
All right.
guys.
Do you remember that? Looking at that interview, does that refresh your recollection?
I remember reading the report at some point, yes.
And do you remember that the Nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle was bald?
I do remember that being in the report, yes.
And you didn't mention that today when you were talking about that Ring camera, did you?
I did not.
And did they also tell you there were 3 other people in the car?
Yes, I believe they thought that was the case.
They thought that was the case. No, they said that's what they saw.
I want to go back, if I can, to the scene itself, the preservation of the actual
This is good.
scene where where Mr. Kirk passed. Did you all have canine dogs at any point that sniffed that area?
Nope.
I don't know specifically that area, but I do know that canines were present, or a canine was present on the day.
But you don't know what task the canine was given?
My understanding.
So Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff selectively leave this part out. Why would she be asking that, you guys? Why would it be important to have the bomb sniffing dogs, the ammo, gunpowder sniffing dogs there at the crime scene where Charlie Kirk was killed? If nothing else, to either find if something was fired from the crowd, if a gun and round was shot from the crowd, or if something was on Charlie Kirk's mic and it exploded, sending debris and explosive material residue into the grass, all over inside of the tent, on the chair, on the cloths that were on top of the tables. No, they didn't have any bomb sniffing dogs come to the scene and sniff for anything. Because, like, here's the other thing, you guys. They found a gun holster, an empty holster. They found a gun inside of a backpack. If that gun was fired recently, the dog would have smelt it. If a gun was fired inside the crowd, I don't know if gunpowder would have, because you get gunpowder residue on your hand and on your clothes. There might have been gunpowder residue like that went out and around and then fell onto the ground. If a different gun was fired on the inside of the crowd somewhere, and definitely if the road mic exploded like we think it did and sent explosive residue in different directions, a bomb sniffing dog would have been great to have there. Nope, they didn't do that.
Was that it may have been used in an effort to track an individual that had jumped off the roof, but I don't know for certain.
And obviously that didn't produce any results, or we would have heard about that, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
not that I was made aware of.
Okay.
Which is interesting, guys. So they took a bomb sniffing dog up to the roof, right, to try to smell and see if a gun was fired, and then like if they could have found, and followed the trail and found the suspect that way. No, but it didn't produce anything, or else we would have heard of that. So that's also interesting. Kind of points to that nothing was fired from the roof.
Do you know when the tent and the stuff was actually removed from the scene?
I don't. I would imagine it had been at least a couple of days, if not longer than that, before anything was removed from the scene.
You didn't have to give permission to remove the tent?
Me, personally?
Right.
No.
So you're not sure when it was removed?
No.
And were you involved in the decision to pave over the dirt that was under the tent?
Nope.
At UVU?
Uh-huh.
No.
Did you know that happened?
Only because it was in the news.
All right. But you don't know when or who ordered that?
Nope.
Kash Patel and Governor Cox ordered it, and they ordered it on Friday night because they came and removed the 10 inches of soil on Saturday, and then Sunday the paver company guys came in and paved over the crime scene. This is the lead investigator detective on the whole thing. He works for the State Bureau of Investigations. He didn't know when the TPUSA equipment and tent and everything else that was TPUSA's, belongings, right? That was that area where Charlie was, and the tablecloths, the tables, the chairs, the cases that were on the ground that Charlie fell on, the thing that Dan Flood was standing on, the canopy itself, the cameras, the stands, everything. When did all that get turned over? This guy doesn't know. I thought it's your crime scene. I thought you're running this. He didn't know. Were you notified that they were going to literally destroy and cover up the crime scene? They didn't have to ask you if you were done processing the crime scene yet. They didn't have to check in with you first to make sure that there wasn't anything else that you guys were planning on doing on Saturday or Sunday before they literally destroy and cover up the crime scene. No, this guy, this freaking idiot, doesn't know anything. He didn't raise any red flags. Like, why did we turn all this over? Why are we covering it up? Why are we destroying the crime scene? We're not done. We didn't have any bomb sniffing dogs come and sniff the area around to make sure that no other gun or no other explosives were used in the commission of this murder. No, nothing. And he didn't even know. So I think this goes to show you. So sorry. I don't know what's going on with my throat. I can hit this button. Sorry. I don't cough enough, so I'm not used to like doing that, but hopefully it's just allergies and stuff. Clearly, Governor Cox and Kash Patel were running that crime scene. They're the ones that decided, well, definitely Kash Patel and the FBI decided to get rid of the vehicle immediately, to release it and get rid of it immediately. SBI didn't know about that. The tent and the crime scene, Kash Patel and Governor Cox made that decision, releasing everything back to TPUSA and then covering it up. This guy didn't know anything. Oh, yeah, but they couldn't frame a patsy. They couldn't cover this up. They couldn't, yeah, it's so dumb.
And it's true that during the time before Mr. Robinson turned himself in, you all received lots and lots of tips from the public. Is that fair?
Correct.
You received tips of death threats that Mr. Kirk had received before, the day before the shooting. Is that right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, did we receive threats that Mr. Kirk had received before the event, or?
Let me clarify. That
Thank
was
you.
a confusing question.
No.
As you were going through tips
was a
that
good
the
question.
public was giving you, did you receive tips about online death threats that had been made against Mr. Kirk prior to his death?
There was a huge variety of tips and information and suggestions that were being provided by the public.
Okay. And a lot of those, some of those filtered through you, right?
Some of them filtered their way down to us, but predominantly that was being handled by our State Information and Analysis Center that had been set up.
She's allowed to ask questions, okay? And so she's clearly pointing by asking this question that there's possibly a grander, greater conspiracy than just Tyler Robinson by himself, a lone gunman by himself, right? That clearly other people had foreknowledge about what was going to happen that day. People were wondering if she's actually paying attention to other theories. Yes, she is. She's asking about it. Why didn't the bomb sniffing dogs sniff the amphitheater? Why didn't you guys chase down the leads that other people knew ahead of time about a potential assassination of Charlie Kirk before that day? She's obviously asking questions, showing that she's aware of these other theories.
You also got multiple tips about potential suspects, people who thought they recognized people in the picture, right?
Yes, there were different calls and information provided by the public.
And you had quite a few of those.
Correct.
That other people called in the tip line and said they believed that person walking down the stairs, under the breezeway, up the stairs, in the Eagle shirt, the black long sleeve shirt and long pants. Other people reported somebody else, not Tyler Robinson.
And then Mr. Robinson turned himself in, right?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the individual they used to facilitate Mr. Robinson turning himself in was someone known to Mr. Robinson personally that had been connected to law enforcement?
I know he was known to the family. I don't know his connection specifically with Mr. Robinson, but I am aware that someone was used to facilitate Mr. Robinson turning himself in.
This guy plays like he doesn't know anything, or he's just an idiot and he really doesn't know anything, which is even more scary, you know? Sorry, my cough drop isn't working. All right. Always be true. Oh my gosh. The lady is way too nice. Yeah, Catherine Nestor is. Well, I mean, it's early on. I don't think when the trial comes, I think she's a bulldog though. She's not, her delivery is good decorum. Right? She's way too nice. Don't let him rumble and not answer questions. A yes or no question requires a yes or no answer. Please stick to the question. Yeah, I wonder for a preliminary hearing if she's allowed to like push back like that or not. I don't know what the standard is for that in a prelim. So
Were you aware that he was one of his Boy Scout leaders? Did you know that?
I think I had heard that at some point. There was a connection. I don't recall specifically what it was.
And Mr. Robinson, in fact, no police went to go arrest him. He drove himself, or he was driven with his parents to the Washington County Sheriff's Department, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
And he voluntarily walked in.
That's also my understanding, yes.
And that was the first moment you ever knew his name connected with this case.
Yeah, aside from the image that we had, that was the first time that we had a name of an individual who had taken responsibility, yes.
And did you?
So what it looks like, goodness, I'm so sorry, you guys. My throat is killing me tonight. It looks like what she's trying to substantiate is that these idiots had no clue. They had no clue. So these are the possible options, okay, that it seems to be that she's pointing to in that line of questioning, is that they had no clue who Tyler Robinson was, who in that photo in the Eagle Boy outfit dude was, that they hadn't even honed in on a name, but that upon turning himself in, right, and hopefully we find out more when the trial happens. And this is me piecing together different possibilities that they then began to frame him once he surrendered. That seems to be her line of questioning, is that they had no clue who the suspect was, who any of the people in the photo were, in the video were, until he turned himself in. Yeah, but that's SBI. That's local law enforcement. If the FBI and ATF and these other agencies were already, well, and that's what's weird, because obviously the rifle that they used in one of the press releases early on, they use that photo of we'd have to go back and look at some of the news from before Tyler turned himself in. Were they saying names? They obviously released the photo of the rifle and said, this is the rifle that was used in the commission of the crime. And then they later say, oh, the parents saw that photo of that rifle, which isn't the actual rifle because it's not black. It's an old wooden one. And then they identified Tyler through that rifle and then got him to turn himself in. But that's not the sequence of events of how it went down. I'll have to refresh my memory on that. But it looks like she's kind of pointing out that they didn't know what was going on. But then once he turned himself in as someone that, in my opinion, probably knew that he participated in this to some degree and was like, it looks like they're going to be coming for all of us. I better turn myself in and, go willingly before they take me out. Then they just honed in on him solely. And then they maybe started to piece together all of these other parties. And what happens, the legal system as it is today is not about justice. It's not about getting to who actually committed the crime. Look at OJ, okay? Look at people that are wrongfully convicted. Look at people that are guilty and get off, right? It's about who can tell a better story. It's about who can they convince to the jury did this crime. Who can they pin the evidence on, right? And it's also if you're rich enough and you have a good enough lawyer that plays this game, this legal game better, you can get off. And so in this day and age, it's not about justice. It's not about truth. It's not about facts. These prosecutors have a conviction and non-conviction rate that they're up against in trying to keep their job and get promoted, right? Like, how many convictions have they got and how many court cases have they lost? What can they prove? They're also working along with the police. The police have to give the public a suspect to tie the bow up, to close it, to give people a vote of confidence in the system, in the police, and that the suspect isn't still out there in the community posing a danger to the community. There's so many factors at play in the modern context of our culture and society and the legal system, where it's not really about getting the person that committed the crime. Okay. And so when they have a big high profile case like this, and then they have someone that turns themselves in, and then they start finding out other pieces, they're going to give someone immunity, even if that person maybe have done it. We know that with informants, like the person that, you know, participated. I mean, look at J6, look at the very first World Trade Center bombings. A lot of the people that are involved in all that are agents that are the ones that push the whole thing along and caused it to happen. You know, none of those people get convicted. Some poor African-American autistic kid gets convicted in the J6 thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully we find out more as the preliminary hearing continues and the trial goes on. That's pretty much it that happens right here. Then he comes up and he's like, he's got it. This is part of the prosecution. Dude, he's an idiot. And let's get to the part. I think it's going to be right here. Let me see where he starts. Let's see.
And looking at this, typically in court, when evidence is being taken, until it's admitted, it doesn't come in. For example, if there's a witness on the stand and one is trying to get a piece of evidence in, that witness cannot read from the document and prior to it being admitted into evidence. And so the court applies that same principle here. However, the difference is in noting.
Oh, this is his end of it. Hold on. And then he gets back up. I think this part is going to be good. Right. Well, does he start reading from it again? Hold on.
All right. I'll hear from you as well. If you would like to come.
Let's go.
With respect to preliminary hearing exhibits, that was the issue in State versus Archuleta, is the defendant's right to a fair trial. So.
Okay. So I had to skip past the beginning. All right. What they are discussing right now. Did he really crash out? I have that pulled up. Do you guys want to watch it? So Frank Turek crashed out today. I have it pulled up. I know he went live. He was premiering right before I went on, but I already had the thumbnail. I already had the title. I already had my video description. I already had everything that I was going to cover today. I still wanted to cover big parts of this because I want to have at least my content out there to combat real America's Voice and Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff and Graham Allen and Officer Tatum getting out there acting like they won something today. Yes, I'm up to covering the Frank Turek thing. If everybody wants to see it, play it. Oh my God. Yeah. You guys want to see it right now? You guys want to see it right now? Yes, right now. All right. Yes. I don't, when you get, let's see. Okay. The Charlie Kirk fist. Yeah. All right. Let's freaking do it. We'll come back to this later. All right. Look, you guys, okay. I got to give you a warning. Jump scare. He's wearing a big purple shirt. At least it's not the Freedom White shirt. And it's Frank Turek and he's on the screen. So just get ready. Okay. Like Brandon Tatum, 3, 2, 1. Here comes Turd Turkey. All right.
Said, why have you said on multiple podcasts that you performed CPR on Charlie Kirk in the car en route to the hospital, but Brian Harpool is one of the security guys in the car, said on Sean Ryan's show that no CPR was performed and you were only praying in the back seat?
Yeah, answer
this is kind of rocking me, as I have followed you for many years for your theology, but recently unfollowed with all of these discrepancies in your story. Hope to hear back. Then Stacy emailed me the other day, quote, "You were involved with the killing of Charlie. I can't trust anything you have to say. You were caught in lies," unquote. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Does every difference or even contradiction between eyewitnesses of a murder automatically mean that, number one, someone is lying, and number two, that someone must be also guilty of murder?
Okay, not necessarily, but it's just the 5 of you in the car talking about a 5 to 10 minute car ride, and your stories greatly contradict one another and are in conflict with one another. And if one of you isn't lying, okay, one of you is lying. So either you're lying or he's lying. One of you's lying. Okay.
Does that follow?
Yes. And then it follows that, like, why would you be lying then?
Do you really think that every disagreement between eyewitnesses means one of them is lying and must be in on the murder?
Not small disagreements, but this one is big enough to think that, yeah, you're covering something up, you're lying about something.
I mean, that is an absolutely bizarre mind virus logic. It doesn't follow.
It does.
In fact, as we'll unpack a little bit later, eyewitnesses always disagree on the minor details. They agree on what happened overall, but they disagree on minor details. That is to be expected. And I'll unpack that further as we go. But if you were to say that every difference in testimony implicated an eyewitness in the crime they witnessed, who would ever testify? It's ridiculous.
All right, but this isn't a small difference.
This kind of thinking, actually, it's not really thinking, it's feeling, is an attack on our blind justice system that is designed to protect innocent people from being wrongly convicted. When you assume someone is guilty without evidence or without a trial, there is no presumption of innocence. You know that our system is built on innocent until proven guilty. There's no burden of proof. There's no need to collect evidence and to build a case that shows that the person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You just short circuit all that stuff when you start claiming that people who witnessed a murder are somehow implicated in the murder just because they disagree with another witness of the murder. I mean, if you think that's how to treat people involved in this case or any case, let me just be direct. You're extremely naive. You're easily manipulated. You're an irrational person who needs more thinking and less feeling. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's just the case. You certainly shouldn't be trusted on a jury. Your hunches, your vibes, your dreams, this is stuff Candace Owens brings out. I had a dream. I just have a vibe. I have a feeling. Your hunches, vibes, dreams, and feelings are not evidence that someone has committed murder.
Dang, maybe we should have started with this video. We're gonna watch the whole thing. I don't know how long it is, but I mean, he's gonna call out Candace a lot. He's pulling up Candace in here. He's doing the most today.
In fact, I got an email this week from someone claiming that some man of God who had some sort of dream or vision told her that, quote, Candace Owens is involved in the murder. And that is why she's made up conspiracies and false accusations to deflect people away from Tyler Robinson. She has and still is instigating people against Erica and TPUSA, unquote. Now, much of what was said in that quote is true, but there was no evidence provided that Candace Owens...
Wait, so he just attacks people for talking about dreams and vibes and feelings, and then he goes, well, this person, though, had a dream, and most of what they just said is true.
Was involved in the murder. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. Anything's possible.
Oh.
But without evidence, it's just possible.
Okay, anything's possible. So is it possible that you're involved in the murder, and that's why you lied about the CPR and the praying and the not CPR for Brian Harple, the drones and then not the drones?
I would never take somebody who just emailed me something and said, this person's involved, has given no evidence.
You literally just did. You just read her email live and said most of what she said is true.
And say, okay, must be true. That person's involved. Anything's possible, but possibilities are not evidence. Now, I'm going to get to the so-called CPR contradiction in just a minute.
We can't wait. Let me read this super chat real quick. Sorry, I got a kink in my back. I got to stretch it. Yeah. Okay, so when Candace made a mistake on time zones or little other errors, it's not simply mistake. She's lying. But when Frank contradicts Brian Harple, it's normal. Okay. Yeah. They can't be consistent. You know? This is the worst psyop ever, and they've hired the worst actors ever. They're all Israel firsters. That's why they all have the same thing in common. Not believable, corrupt, evil people do anything for money.
But first, I know that what I'm going to say on this program, on this show, isn't going to convince anyone
good,
who is following a personality rather than the evidence. You ought to be following the evidence, not a personality.
We're not. It's just that Candace Owens has personality and she's a good person. And the evidence that we're all looking at, that the Fed sloppers and you keep retelling every day, what it actually points to is not your conclusion. It's that Tyler Robinson maybe played some sort of peripheral role in this, but was not on campus at 12:23 p.m. on the Losi Center with a 1940 Mauser, firing a 30-06 that flew through the air, breaking this what is it, the sound barrier, right? It's Mach 2 or whatever it is, with 2,000 something pounds of force. And Charlie flexed and he ate spinach, and God did a miracle, and it went in and it deflected, and it just bounced around in there. Yeah. The evidence doesn't point to your theory, my man.
Not Candace, not me, not anyone else. You ought to be following the evidence.
We are.
For people who have their minds made up, because everything they see is interpreted to confirm what they want to be true. There's nothing that I'm going to say that's going to change your mind, because no matter what I say, it's going to be confirmation of what you already believe. It's called confirmation bias. And we see this in Candace Owens. For example, no matter what she thinks she sees, Candace always or can always interpret the evidence in such a way that it advances whatever conspiracy theory she's advocating that particular day. And by the way, I'm going to put videos of Candace saying most of what I'm about to tell you in the show notes. We don't have time to play all the clips. We're going to play enough clips today, but I can't play every one of these clips. But you've seen that Candace, on one hand, has said Erica is too emotional. On the other hand, she's not emotional enough. For example, Candace says that Erica can't be CEO because she's too emotional. But then Candace insinuates and actually puts in a tweet that everyone has betrayed Charlie. Anyway, Candace insinuates that Erica is in on the murder because she was too calm talking to her team about their goals about 10 days after the murder. Well, look, is Erica too emotional or is she too calm? Which is it? Well, it depends on what conspiracy theory or claim Candace is.
We've never said that she's too emotional. We said that the emotions that she shows are fake and not real. She only cried at certain points, and it was clearly staged, and she was acting. But for the most part, there's a major lack of emotion in a widow days, the same day, like everything after. She hasn't acted and behaved in a way consistent with a woman that was in love and loved her husband, who was just brutally murdered and is dead. It's just not.
Peddling that day. If it's Erica ought not be CEO, if that's the claim Candace is making, well, then obviously Erica's too emotional. If it's Erica is complicit in the murder, if that's her theory, then Erica is too calm, see? Because she should have been more emotional if the murder occurred and she had nothing to do with it.
No.
So no matter what Erica does, Candace can interpret it to confirm whatever she wants to confirm.
No, it just so happens that everything Erica does is freaking weird and not something a normal grieving widow does. It just happens that's the case. You know what I mean? You don't be mad at Candace for noticing what we're noticing. She just has a big platform, and she's like literally saying what we're all thinking. I don't talk with Candace. I'm literally on the same page. Like, go watch my stuff, Frank.
Candace has spent multiple weeks focused in on the allegation that no donors heard Charlie appoint Erica as his successor. But not only has TPUSA now released the video clip of him saying that very thing at an event.
Nope.
But Candace admitted earlier that two donors, and they happen to be a couple, do remember him saying that Erica would take over for him. And
no, God, what a liar. No, what they said they remember is they asked like a pretty general question, like, you're just one man. you're carrying so much, you're wearing so many hats. Like, what would TPUSA do, if they didn't have you? And they said he didn't answer that way. And that's not what he said. And that's taken out of context and either completely made up or parsed together from different parts, where he clearly is saying it jokingly, sarcastically, like in jest. Like he's like laughing. He's like, yeah, I mean, Erica, she'd do a great job. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my wife, who's a stay-at-home mom, no experience. The pageant lady. Yeah. She, the board. Yeah. I appoint her as CEO. Yeah, totally.
If he were to pass on. But now Candace considers the couple conflicting witnesses because of their various ties to Turning Point. And she thinks the video of Charlie actually saying that must be AI generated. Now, it just goes to show you.
We all think it's AI generated, Frank. We all do.
She can interpret and reinterpret no matter what evidence you provide in whatever direction she wants to fit whatever claim she wants to make. She can keep moving the goalposts. She can reinterpret evidence to fit whatever conspiracy theory that she's peddling that day. Also, Candace has said that Charlie was shot from the front, and then she said, no, he was shot from behind.
No, she never said shot from behind. She did say shot from the front, but I don't know what happened with that. And if people are feeding her different intel at different points in this investigation, and she didn't have all the evidence that she has now, it makes sense that she's only going to be as good as what she's seen up to that point.
Then she said he was shot from below. And now currently, apparently.
No. When she said he was shot from the front, that is her statement when she said from the front below. Right? Because he goes up and the way the wound is and everything. That's one thing. That's one theory. She thought that he was shot from the front down below.
Charlie was somehow killed by a proximity bomb that killed him. And another.
Nope. Never said a proximity bomb. What a douche, dude. What a douche.
Another problem with that, of course, or another accusation associated with that, is that those of us that actually had tried to help Charlie afterwards and brought him to the hospital, we had to take off our clothes to get all that evidence of the residue from the bomb off, and we had to destroy all that so nobody would discover it. That's
no. You never touched him, dummy. So we don't know why you got rid of your clothes. It could be whatever you guys were really doing in the SUV that wasn't life-saving care, wasn't rendering any sort of CPR or anything to try to stop the bleeding. You don't touch Charlie at all on camera. You climb into the back of the SUV, climb over the back seat into the rear seat of the SUV, and you're the only one that says about doing CPR, but Brian says you're in the back seat praying the whole time. So at no point do you touch Charlie. Okay. We don't know why you got rid of your clothes. But yeah, we would say that like Dan Flood, Rick Cutler, Brian Harple got rid of theirs to hide and cover up and destroy evidence for sure. Yeah.
That's her claim, apparently. But look, which is it? Was Charlie shot from the front, from behind, from below, or was it some proximity bomb?
No, we never said proximity. We definitely think it's an exploding mic at this point. Other people think that he could have been shot from the front with a different round. It's also possible that like 4 things happened at the same time, like they did with JFK. All right. They were going to leave no possibility that Charlie was walking out of there alive that day. And it also will mess up the autopsy. It'll also mess up the audio and the video evidence that we look at. We don't know what we're looking at because maybe we're seeing like 4 different mechanisms of death of the means and the mode that caused his death. We don't know. We really don't know. We know that what we see on the camera that day is not a 30-06 bullet entering his neck. I found this really cool video, like AI rendition, mocking the 30-06 you know, lone bullet to the neck, the spine stopped it, and it then turned around and just and then just, you know, when it went in, it went up, it hit the C2, crashed back down, so it goes in. It's coming at an angle like this, at like a 9-degree angle. It's coming in, and then once it gets in, it takes an immediate like 45-degree angle turn, goes up to the C2, hits the C2, and then takes an immediate right angle turn, a 180, and then crashes down through 6 vertebrae, and then lodges into his T1 where it fragments, and then it's just like, and that's just physically impossible, moron. It just is. And so we know what didn't happen. We're not positive as to what happened. No one has said, Barron, Candace, I don't know anyone, no one that I follow, no one that I watch and trust that say they know for a fact what happened. I think that, I mean, okay, John is convinced, John Bray, and that's fine. He's allowed to be because he's the expert in his own fields, and as it's his eyes, he can be convinced. I think Candace and a lot of us are saying we don't know for sure. We know it's not a 30-06. It looks like something exploded under his shirt. His necklace broke. The wound isn't consistent with a 30-06. There's no exit wound. You know, we're still in the investigation process and the evidence gathering, the tips process. We haven't put forth any concise, like, single, this is how it happened that day. Did Turd Turkey just say bomb stuff? Yeah. He also said proximity bomb. He's a freaking moron. What can I say? This is the best. This is the best they had for us, you guys. This guy.
Well, it depends on what conspiracy theory she's peddling that day.
Peddling.
Again, we're going to put the videos for all this in the show notes. Candace also said that Charlie was a boy genius.
Yeah.
But apparently Charlie wasn't really a genius because, according to Candace, all the people that Charlie handpicked to be in his family and on his team betrayed him. So was Charlie a genius or was he a dummy? Which is it?
So most geniuses, all right, like Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, and others, even like Wernher von Braun, right? They are socially awkward, right? They are geniuses in a certain regard. A lot of them back in the day would have been considered to have like Asperger's, right? We don't use that term anymore. Now we use ASD and on the spectrum. It's a spectrum, so you have extremely high functioning. This is my field of expertise. You do see a very wide range of presentations of ASD in kids. There is some similarities in the lower functioning kids. They typically are nonverbal, right? And can't take care of their daily living skills themselves, right? They need a lot of assistance. But on the higher functioning level, these kids, for the most part, if you just look at them, you wouldn't be able to tell. But then once you start to see them interact socially, right, you could kind of get a impression that they might be on the spectrum. I also think that, you know, he probably was a boy genius, right? He's extremely intelligent. He always was. Look back at his older videos of himself speaking, an autodidact, self-read, self-taught. But I think one of the areas that he was extremely bad at was being able to discern threats, honest people from dishonest people, people taking advantage of him, from people that were there genuinely to want to help him. And that doesn't mean just because he wasn't good at that social component of being a human means that he wasn't a boy genius. They're not mutually, you know, they don't contradict. I think that they actually support one another. Because he was this, he was not good in this other area. Did Charlie Kirk actually handpick those people, though? No, that's the other thing. He didn't. So all of these people sought him out. All right. Tyler Boyer sought him out. Tyler Boyer brought on Terrell Farnsworth. Terrell Farnsworth brought on Philip Goldsberry. Andrew Colvett introduced himself and tried to sell himself to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk wanted nothing to do with it. Then there was some sort of, manufactured crisis that Charlie wasn't able to handle himself. And then he was forced to ask Andrew for help. And then then Andrew sunk his teeth in and never left. There's also these weird connections through like the Kairos company and, all of these pro-Israel Zionist shills connected to the donors, connected to Israel. And then Andrew Colvett did a lot of the hiring. Tyler Boyer hired Alex Clark with Andrew Colvett. Other people around Charlie did the hiring of a lot of the people that remain there today. People referred Blake Neff, right? Tucker gave a good reference for Blake. And I think Charlie's going to trust Tucker's judgment on that, sadly, that he did. And then Erica Kirk was forced on Charlie by Tyler multiple times until it was forced to happen after Charlie had a very big breakup with a girl that he was wanting to take to the next level and was heartbroken. And then all of these pastors were also brought into Charlie's life through Erica and through other people that were then pressuring Charlie to marry Erica, get engaged, marry, and do it quickly. Charlie didn't handpick everyone. Even Mikey McCoy, that didn't happen because of Charlie. Erica was there. Erica facilitated the meeting between Rob McCoy and Charlie Kirk and to go speak at his churches. All of these Calvary Chapel pastors that remain after the fact all had long-standing relationships and connections with Erica Kirk. That's why they're all shilling for her and Israel still to this day.
I think it really depends on what conspiracy theory she's peddling that day. She also said that either Brian Harpool is lying about the drone over the event, or Frank Turek is lying about the drone over the event.
Yes.
So she at one point said, well, Frank's a military man and military men don't really lie about these things. So Frank's not lying about it. But now when we have this so-called CPR difference, Candace says that I'm the one, Frank is the one telling lies. Look, is Frank honest or is Frank a liar? Which is it? It depends on what conspiracy theory that Candace is peddling that day. Now, I realize that some people can sometimes tell the truth and sometimes people can tell the lie, but it isn't inconvenient that she thought I was trustworthy about the drone, but I'm not.
Yeah, she thought that you were trustworthy about the drone because it has to do with like technology and stuff like that. And that you were just at the time because Brian, you came out first and said that before Brian Harpool did his interview. Okay, you guys were doing your shows right away, you and Mikey and Rob. You had come out before Brian had said anything about drones. So you, I think, were telling the truth about the drones. Okay. And you were the one that came out first about the CPR. Okay. Your story came out first. And then Brian Harpool's story came out. So I definitely believe there were drones. I don't know who to believe about the CPR. Maybe they're both lying. Maybe none of what they said happened in the car actually happened in the car. Maybe something way more tragic happened in the car. And they have us running down which one's lying because neither is true, and it's something totally, totally worse.
Trustworthy about CPR. So it really just depends on what conspiracy theory she's peddling. It doesn't matter what the evidence is. It's always interpreted in such a way as to confirm whatever she wants to confirm that day. This kind of reminds me, for those of you who are older like I am, years ago, Monty Python put a movie out. The group of comedians known as Monty Python called The Life of Brian. And it was kind of a spoof on the story of Jesus, where people mistake Brian for the Messiah rather than Jesus. And at one point during the movie, all these people who are following Brian say to Brian, Brian, are you the Messiah? Are you the Messiah? He says, I'm not the Messiah. He keeps denying he's the Messiah. And then one of them says, it's just like the Messiah to deny that he's the Messiah. And then Brian says, okay, I am the Messiah. And they all go, he is the Messiah. It doesn't matter what evidence is given. The people are always going to conclude that Brian is the Messiah. It doesn't matter what evidence is given. Some people who are following Candace right now are.
Wait, can I ask you guys a question? Why are all of these old men yelling in the camera all the time? Like him and James Cadiz? Like, why? You have a mic. You just need to talk, bro. You don't have to get all up in arms at everything. It's like you're defending something. It's like you're hiding something, and you're really weird. But like that whole Monty Python, which I like Monty Python, he's ruined it for me. I'm never going to watch it the same because he just told a whole part of it, and I'm going to hear his stupid voice and see his stupid face in that stupid purple shirt. Freaking Barney up here. Oh my gosh. All right, Frank.
Just going to conclude that whatever she says is true, regardless of the fact that there's no evidence. So I know I'm not going to convince people who think everything is evidence of a conspiracy, but hopefully a few of you out there who have sort of drunk the Kool-Aid in that direction can, hopefully what I say here can help you realize that you're being manipulated. And I'm going to show you how you're being manipulated as this program unfolds.
Show us, please.
All right, now let's talk about the drones for a minute. I already mentioned this previously on a show several months ago.
Yeah, sure did.
But the so-called drone contradiction is the fact that when we were driving into Utah Valley University that fateful day, September 10th, Charlie got video on his phone that looked like it was from a drone, looked like it was from above of the crowd that was waiting. We were like an hour out, and wow, look at all these people there. That's when I said to him, Charlie, I don't like this place. There are too many buildings.
Too many rooms.
Charlie just shrugged that off because he was brave and he knew he had to put himself at least in some harm's way. If he was going to love people, he can't completely wall himself off. In any event, it really looked like drone footage. And I said it like 5 days after the murder on the podcast about Charlie Kirk. I said, we got drone footage. I just assumed it was drone footage. You see something from above you, it's got to be a drone. That's what you think in today's society.
No,
drones are everywhere. But then it turned out Brian Harpool at some point later, may have been the Sean Ryan podcast, I don't know when he said this, but he said there were no drones up. We couldn't have drones up. And in retrospect, especially when I went back to UVU in March, and I think I realized this even prior to that, there was a walkway above us, that there was a breezeway that went out into this amphitheater-like area, and there was a building above us, so you could kind of walk under the building, look like it was like a hallway, and then on top of it, you could stand up there, and there were people standing up there. And so what probably it was someone with an iPhone from his team just taking an aerial shot from that top of the building there to show us how big the crowd was. I just assumed it was a drone, but Brian was probably right. It wasn't a drone. It was a iPhone just up on that building.
You know what we know? We know that they blocked off that walkway early in the morning. There was no one up there. There was just a security team member and a police officer. People were way, way down there, and people were way, way down there. No one was up above Charlie in the tent, and not hours out either. They blocked that off. One of the first things they did, because that was Dan Flood's message to Chief Long that morning, because people were throwing rocks. Also, is this guy an idiot? He doesn't know it's called the Hall of Flags. He's a moron. He said he was there. It's not like scorched into his memory. He's like, no, I didn't know. But when I went back, when I returned back to UVU, then I found out that there was a building there and you can walk along the top of it. And he's just speculating. He's just making stuff up right now. Also, you know the difference between drone footage and cell phone footage, first of all. And then lastly, when Wolves in Finance got the cease and desist letter from TPUSA, they ended up admitting that the media team, meaning Mikey McCoy, and those that were there on the media team were approved to have drones and did have a drone up. It was only the security team, supposedly, that got denied to fly drones. So, and we saw hundreds of drones, maybe not hundreds, dozens. We saw a lot of drones that day up in the air. So, Frank's a freaking liar. He's a freaking bad liar. He's a freaking idiot. Let me get to these 3 super chats and we'll return to Barney. Ohio, are you an Ohio State fan? All right, go Buckeyes. I'm not an Ohio State fan, but go Buckeyes. You know, I'm a Sooner. All right. Love the show. Christ is King. Thank you, Jeff. Do you go by Jeff or Jeffrey? McDowell, McKim, MCK, MCD. Hey, I don't know if it's Scottish. Is McDowell Scottish? Sounds Scottish. McKim is Scottish. Brian Carter. Many reachers use voice volume as a controlling authoritarian tactic. Do you mean preachers? Many preachers? You left off the P? Are you saying preachers, teachers? I think so. I'm thinking preachers because we're talking about Frank Turek. Many preachers use voice volume as a controlling authoritarian tactic. Yeah, that makes sense. That's James Cadiz and Greg Laurie and Rob McCoy and Jack Hibbs and Frank Turkey over here. Yep. I guess I drunk the Kool-Aid. I'm driving faster. Go, Max. What Kool-Aid? The Black Line Brief Kool-Aid or not the Fed Slop Kool-Aid? Yeah, are you new to the show? You finally drank the Kool-Aid and dived and joined us? Well, welcome. I'm driving faster. Do you drive fast? I used to drive really fast. I used to have a Subaru STI, but then I got married and turned it in for a Subaru Outback.
Now, that contradiction, nobody was lying. I was just misinformed. I thought it was a drone, but apparently it wasn't. Either that or it was a drone early on that maybe someone from the team had there, not the security team, but the marketing team, and then they brought it down before the event occurred. That's possible too.
So what is it, Frank? What is it? It could have been this. It definitely wasn't that. Actually, now I'm just thinking about this live on air. This is me thinking through it. It actually could have been a drone. The marketing team, I think he meant media, could have had it up and then they took it down. It's also possible it was the media team's drone and it was still up there. They just didn't keep sending you the feed, moron.
But every difference in a case between eyewitnesses doesn't mean it's a contradiction, doesn't mean it's a lie. Sometimes it's just one person was misinformed or one person noticed something another person didn't. Now, what about the CPR difference? Well, I'm going to let Candace explain that. Here she is.
Good. Somebody smart.
If we continue to look at the actual evidence of the car, we then have to ask ourselves, what could account for Frank Turek's, and it has to be a lie, according to Brian Harple.
Yeah, because he's a lying liar from Liar Town.
It's a lie. Frank Turek says that he himself, Frank, tried to start CPR.
Freaking Frank.
And to be clear, we can immediately determine that Frank Turek is likely the one lying in that scenario and not Brian Harple.
I agree.
Because Charlie was lying across the seats.
Agreed.
Okay? His middle section was therefore not flat. You cannot conduct emergency CPR on a person that is laying across 2 captain chairs with their midsection in the air.
Agreed.
Brian, both of his hands are occupied. He would be, it's not an ideal position at all, but like he's the person that would be in the position to address Charlie's chest area. It's not possible. Okay. You need a flat surface to do CPR. Everybody knows this. And Brian has already admitted that it was him that was on the floor, down on one knee beside the chair because Charlie's legs were dangling off. Okay.
Agreed.
Candace doesn't know what she's talking about. Candace wasn't there. It wasn't just Brian in the back seat. It was also Rick. In fact, Rick was sort of holding.
Gosh, you're such an idiot, Frank. I can't believe I ever used to watch this guy for apologetics. That's what happens when you go to theological school. And this is the best they have for us, you guys. At least they do in the evangelical Protestant community. Used to watch this moron. He cut the, like, why didn't he show the video, the clip where like she has the rendition of them in the car? She knows Rick Cutler's on the front left. She knows Brian's in the front right. Justin's driving. Dan's in the front passenger. He's got the, directions. He's cutting signs. He's like, let's go. Ah. He's doing all the most. Frank Turkey's in the back. She knows where everyone is. Her point in saying what she said was, they're captain chairs. You have to do CPR on a flat, hard surface. This is true. You're not going to be able to do CPR as his midsection is like this in between the captain chairs. So you have Charlie, who's, 6'4", 6'5", and his midsection and, bum, his butt is going to be like down in between the chairs, the two captain chairs. His feet are hanging out the door, supposedly, or they're stuck in the door. Brian's hanging out the door. And then, Rick Cutler has his head on this side. You're not going to be able to do CPR like that. So that's why she's looking at the stories and going like, yeah, CPR doesn't make sense here. Doesn't seem plausible. Definitely think Frank is lying. I agree.
Charlie's head. All right. I was over the top. So I was from the third row, if you will. And Charlie was laid out from my left to my right, where his legs were out the door, as Candace just said, because he was too tall. And to my right was Brian. To my left, where Charlie's head was Rick. Okay. Most of his back was on the left seat. Okay. And Brian is correct that most of the ride, we weren't doing any CPR. We couldn't do CPR. We're trying to stop the bleeding. So no CPR was done. It wasn't until the last, say, 30 seconds of the ride that I thought to myself, we got to be nearing like 8 or 9 minutes and he's not breathing and there's no heartbeat. I've got to at least try. It's probably going to be futile, but I got to at least try to start his heart and get some air in him. So I tried that for like 20 or 30 seconds at the very end of the ride when we're pulling into the hospital parking lot and we're yanking and banking our way there. Now, it turned out it was futile because he was still bleeding. You can't really do CPR when somebody's still bleeding. Of course, I didn't know any of this at the time. The only thing—
You didn't know any of this? You were a former Navy flight officer, and you actually, you reference that you do know quite a bit because of that. And also, Brian and Rick and Dan and Justin, who are like combat medic trained, certified, they're going to have Mr. Apologetic, tard in the back is going to come up here and start. So supposedly, remember, Brian's doing this the whole time. Remember his cat paws? He's putting in 36, 30. He's like, I'm just putting in 36 feet of freaking gauze. And then we're going to have Frank Turkey, and he makes it sound like he's like up there with him. He's in the back. He's not up there with him. But anyway, so Rick's holding Charlie, holding Dan or Brian Harple from falling out. Brian's up there going like this with the gauze in the wound, stopping the bleeding. And then supposedly you have Frank at the end go like, oh, we need, and he just starts doing CPR. You don't think like Brian and Rick are going to be like, knock it off, you freaking idiot. What are you doing? We're stopping the bleeding. No, Brian is trying to stop the bleeding, and here comes Frank, and like they're just like, that's a good idea. Yeah, you should do that. Keep doing that. Yeah. Oh no, we're here now. When you start CPR, you're not supposed to stop CPR. And they're like, yeah, just start it, and then like we're gonna get there, we're gonna stop, and then we're just gonna pull him out. And Frank's a moron, dude.
I'm thinking about is, if there's any way he's gonna make it, we've got to do something to get air in him. So I tried it for like 20 or 30 seconds, but his eyes were fixed. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking right past me into eternity. Now, if you saw Brian on Sean Ryan,
he can't go one TV appearance without saying that. What does that tell you guys? I think he's like a programmed moron, or like, this is just the worst. Like, this guy's like, I don't know, reading from a teleprompter. No, he's got his lines memorized. He's said them 1,000 times by now. His eyes were fixed. He was looking right past me into eternity. absent with the body, present with Christ. He just gets in this like loop. He's just stuck in this loop. Someone needs to snap him out of it. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera.
And show he had doll eyes.
Doll eyes.
Yeah, he had to have doll eyes. Now, I don't know Brian's history. I don't know if he was in the military or he had combat experience. He probably has.
Nope, he was a cop. He was a cop. Yeah, he was even a bicycle cop for a little bit. You ask Crystal, she found that out too. He was a bike cop. He did some other things too. No prior military experience. And for someone that doesn't know anything about his history, you sure do defend these guys a lot. You sure do point to them when they're off stage giving you security and you go, Dan's right there, Brian's right there. These guys didn't do anything wrong. Chief Long, UVU, they're the ones that didn't get the roofs. It was their jurisdiction and responsibility. Dan and Brian were heroes. Mikey was a general. You defend these guys. And now here we are 10 months later and you're like, actually, I don't know anything about these guys. Maybe they had medical combat experience. I assume so. You're doing a lot of assuming. You know what that does, right? You know what that makes you, okay? When you do a lot of assuming, you're assuming about the drone, not a drone. Is it a drone? No, I think it's just the guy. He's just up there. He's just holding the camera. You know, wait. No, I remember hearing marketing. He meant media. They had drones, so there might have been a drone. I'm just assuming. This is the best they have for us, ladies and gentlemen. This guy. And he's on TPUSA staff, and they're not stopping him. How are they not reaching out to Frank going like, you got to stop. You have to stop making videos. You have to stop getting in front of a camera, turning it on, and moving your lips. Every time you do that, you make it worse for all of us. How did they not warn him? Like, please shut up. Shut up. Shut up, Frank. Oh, my goodness. Love and prayers from the land of the midnight sun. Where's the land of the midnight sun? Where's the land of the midnight sun? Antarctica? The North Pole? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Japan? Where is Aquaton? Don't even make me try to say that. I don't know. AK Akritan. I don't know. That's a hard one. I mean, I'm bad at all of them. That's tough. Hey, can you guys tell me where is the night of the midnight sun? Alaska. I knew it started with an S. Gosh, Samsonite. I was close though.
I don't know Brian very well. I was in the military, but I never saw anybody shot. I never saw anybody shot and bleed out. Charlie, he didn't just bleed out. He was, according to the surgeon, he was killed instantly.
What a freaking moron.
And in the back of my mind, I thought that was true, but am I going to try? Of course I'm going to try. And we were all trying. We were trying to stop the bleeding the whole way.
Not you. You were doing
so. It's
CPR.
not a contradiction. Brian is generally right. Yeah, we weren't spending time on CPR because we were just trying to stop the bleeding. But at the very end, I said, I got to try it. I couldn't live with myself if say they did.
He's about to cry. He's not going to cry. This is just him. He's playing a part, you guys. I just had to cry.
Did revive him and he had, say, brain damage. Got to try and get air in him. So we tried. And as you know, when we did get to the hospital, they did get his heart started. And the surgeon later said, you can do that in a healthy person. They could already be dead, but if he's a healthy person, young person, strong heart, you can restart the heart.
Now, what they found was they found a pulse. They didn't say they restarted the heart. They were able to find a pulse, and it was like light, and then it just was gone. Okay.
When they restarted the heart, we thought, hey, maybe there's hope. Rick and I were praying out loud the whole way. Brian's right about that. We're praying out loud the whole way.
Wait.
Oh, and one other thing.
Wait. Hold up. He just said in the last 20 seconds, he was breathing for Charlie. He said he had to get him oxygen. He didn't just say that he was doing chest compressions. He actually said he had to try to breathe for him. How are you praying out loud the entire way when you're giving him mouth to mouth, you idiot? Did anyone else catch that? Did anyone else catch that? Please tell me you guys caught that too, right? Yeah, keep talking, Frank. Keep talking. You're giving us more. You're giving us more. You can't do mouth to mouth and pray out loud at the same time. Right? These are called incompatibles. When a kid's punching you in the face and you tell him to fold his hands, he can't keep punching you in the face. Well, I guess he could with the two hands, but that's why you tell him, like, sit on your hands or put your hands in your pockets or cross your arms like this. Okay? Those two actions are incompatible with each other. You can only do one of them at the same time, at a time. Okay? You can't be like praying out loud and giving mouth to mouth at the same time. Moron. This guy. They let this guy fly planes for the Navy. What is this world coming to? Oh, my goodness. Oh, Frank.
Some people are saying, you said you were on FaceTime.
You did.
For 9 hours. I never said I was on FaceTime for 9 hours.
Well, no. We put that together because you said you never got hung up, and then you put it in your pocket. And then later, when you were in the hotel, you were like, oh, my gosh, I'm still on FaceTime. So, I mean, it's a long time. Maybe it was like 5 or 6 hours. But you did say that, Frank. It's hard to keep lies all together. I know you're doing all these appearances so much. You tell one story here, you tell one story here. It all blends together. You're like, wait, what did I say the last time I was there? Wait, what did I say? Dang it. How long was I on the phone? Shoot. That's what happens when you lie, Frank. It's hard to keep the lie going. And then you got to tell more lies. But all that does is show us that you're a lying liar from Liar Town. And you should never wear purple as a grown man. Sorry, you just shouldn't. You should, because it looks good on you, because you're an idiot. Doofus.
I was FaceTiming my son and daughter-in-law when the shot rang out. I put the phone in my pocket, not even remembering they were there. Because as soon as
I thought it was his daughter and son-in-law. We have to go back and check that. This is a I love it when I pause him on a good face. This is a good face for Frank. I thought it was his daughter and son-in-law that was on the phone. Wasn't it? Wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it was. You guys tell me.
Charlie shot, I'm heading toward him and then running with him. I just put it in my back pocket. They heard the entire thing until we got to the hospital. When I pulled it out of my pocket, they were still there. I, talked to them and said goodbye.
Okay, purple Sean O'Malley shirt's okay, bro. That's okay. Sean O'Malley, dude, that guy's awesome. I love Sean O'Malley. I'm just saying, like a purple polo that's 2 sizes too small. He got it at Baby Gap, and it's Frank. He shouldn't wear it, okay?
That's when I called Jack Hibbs to pray, and Seth Dillon called me.
Seth,
because he had heard what had happened. So I'm talking to him on the phone. I wasn't talking for 9 hours. Somebody.
So there is a conspiracy. We all know Seth Dillon is not good. He's evil.
Online said I said I was on FaceTime for 9 hours till we got to the hotel. No, to the hospital. It was in my back pocket. It's amazing how misinformation just goes everywhere.
Can you act it out for us? You were about to. Can you just act it out for us? We'd love to see a reenactment of how it all went down.
Now, let me say something about eyewitness accounts.
You already did.
There is no verbal or written account that is a complete account. It always takes longer to describe an event than experience it.
Wow,
in fact, we know this. You know this if you go to work,
guys,
and you come home and your spouse says, hey, how was your day, honey? It would take you longer if you worked for 8 hours. It would take you longer than 8 hours to explain everything that happened that day than to just live the 8 hours.
That's not true.
It would take you longer to describe even a play in football.
That's not true.
Than it would just to witness the play.
Wait, I got something for you.
This is why every written account.
Yeah, you guys want to see how bad Jack Posobiec is? Is this the one? Yeah, it is. Hold on. This is from the day of the assassination. We'll go back to Frank. Don't worry. But we got to get all this in there today, all right? This is Jack Posobiec finding out in the moment on September 10th, all right? It's only a minute. It's only a minute.
We are getting some video now from the Charlie Kirk event at Utah Valley University. Want to emphasize that everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
You start, Frank.
Just right now. And I'm going to say it on air.
Oh, please do.
In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Yes.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into heaven.
No, lead us not into temptation.
Lead us not into heaven.
No, lead us not into temptation.
Lead us not into temptation.
There it is.
Deliver us from evil.
Yeah.
Amen.
Oh my gosh, what happened there, Frank? I mean, oh my gosh, Jack, what happened there? You busted your rosary out, and then you just like something happened, and you just forgot the words. He realizes how bad that looks as a professing Catholic to bust out his rosary and not know the most basic prayer that we all could say in our sleep, backwards, upside down, underwater. And he's like, I don't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. Let's see. Can you recover?
Charlie Kirk is a very close friend of mine.
Why are you smiling? You just found out he got shot, you freaking weirdo. Charlie Kirk is a friend of mine. He just was shot, you moron.
And I want him to be as okay as possible. We're staying frosty. Say a prayer. Say a prayer right now for Charlie Kirk.
We're staying frosty. Charlie Kirk was just shot, but Jack Posobiec wants you to stay frosty, ladies and gentlemen. Say a prayer. Stay frosty. That should be the next emoji, is like Jack Posobiec as like Frosty. As Frosty. Jack Posobiec as Frosty, and he's like wearing something and it says, stay frosty. What the actual heck? Oh no. He's supposedly Catholic. That one? Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think a lot of these people, they be like the B'nai B'rith people, you know, where they just like infiltrate different religions and they're using it just like a lot of these people that were like Democrats their whole life. And they're like, we never get elected. We're not really good over here. I'm just going to say, like, I had a come to Jesus moment. Here I am, born again. I mean, that is the thing. We're born again. You got to trust me. I said it. I'm going to learn all the things. I'm going to say all the things. You're going to believe I'm now a Christian or I'm now a Catholic. And yeah, now I'm going to be a Republican. And like, yeah, just believe me because I said so. And then they get out there and then he's high. Yeah, he might be. He might be. Yeah. I think there's, wait, let me see if I got this thing. I don't know if it's at the right mark. It's not actual video, but it's audio from that day because the full video of him that day is gone because it's probably really bad. But this is like that was pulled from somebody else's channel. This is the audio where they were getting like live fed information that no one else was getting. I didn't get to pre-listen. If it sucks within the first minute, we'll stop listening to it. We'll go back to Frank. This is from like the Apple podcast. Let's see.
Okay, now thanks for having me on, Jack.
Yes, of course, Dan. We're getting some reports. We know that Charlie Kirk is on tour right now, and we're getting some live reports from that as we speak. I'm going to work on seeing what's going on the break here, and we'll have more information if we have something to report right around the bend. Stay frosty, ladies and gentlemen. As always, yep. Be right back. Real America's Voice.
Is that a thing he says all the time?
Closely with Charlie here on this program. We are already in contact and working on getting even further contact with people who are on the ground. We're getting in contact with people that we've already been in contact with, at least one person who's been on the scene. Why
does he keep saying that? What's wrong with these people? They seem to be in their own loops. We're getting in contact. We're in contact. We're in contact. We're getting in contact.
I want to tell everybody right now, stay frosty. Let's wait until we get any confirmation as to what exactly happened during this incident with.
This isn't a replay. This was the next segment, you guys. I swear.
Charlie Kirk on campus in Utah. and we're working around the clock. I've got folks that are directly at Charlie Kirk's studio back home. So we're working on, I'm reading messages right now. We're working on this in real time. Do me a favor, folks, everybody, before this goes out, before this gets bigger, just say a prayer for Charlie.
Stay frosty.
Say a prayer for Charlie. Say a prayer for the entire Charlie Kirk team, the Turning Point team, his beautiful wife, Erica, their 2 children. Just say a prayer for everybody. Prayers always work. And so let's lift up Charlie Kirk, his entire team, and all the students who were there, his family as well. Right now, lift them all up in prayer, and let us pray that what we're hearing is we were able to confirm what happened. Let's pray that everyone is safe, and let's pray that whatever happened gets dealt with swiftly and quickly. Again, I'm working on getting direct information right now as soon as we can. And as soon as we have that, we will break in and get it out. This is Utah Valley University. Senator Mike Lee has tweeted that he is tracking the situation at Utah Valley University closely. He says, please join me in praying for Charlie Kirk and the students who are gathered there, the TP USA rally.
I don't know why they haven't said anything else.
And I'm looking to get this. So let's go. We've got Senator Ron Johnson, who is on standby. I want to play, and as soon as we know more information, I will break in with that. But let's go, guys. Let's play that clip from the hearing yesterday regarding Senator Ron Johnson.
No.
2.5 times the rate of crime. HHS.
Go to follow you and get more information that your office is putting out.
Mainly at exits.
And freely speak with him. This is about freedom of speech and the fearlessness of Charlie Kirk to go and continue to hold these events, even in the wake of Butler, Pennsylvania, and even in the wake of everything that happened there.
That's a weird.
And this is something that I've talked to Charlie about. This is something that he knows well, that threats are real and that we live in a real world.
What?
And yet Charlie believes in what he does.
Oh, it's Charlie's fault.
Believes in this country.
Yep, Charlie's fault.
Charlie loves his family dearly. He loves his country dearly. And he never wanted to back down. He will never back down and will never surrender. And if there's anything I know about Charlie Kirk, is that he will never, ever stop fighting, no matter what. No matter how many events and tours and situations that he's been in, the guy only has one mode, and that mode is fight. So let's fight for him right now, through prayer, through being prayer warriors for Charlie Kirk, for everyone who's at this event. And if it's true that someone took a shot at my friend.
Okay, so that's the first time he said it. This whole time he hasn't really told us what was said.
Then the result from that must absolutely be swift.
What does that
And
mean?
it must be final.
Wait, you want people to take violence into their own hands? It must be swift and it must be final. Okay.
Because this can't go on anymore, folks.
Oh, they're pushing this left versus right. We need a civil war kind of thing.
Conservatives. President.
I haven't pre-listened to this. Like someone sent me this. One of our members sent me this today. He's saying now conservatives need to, act swiftly and with, finality.
Trump, they take a shot at, try to kill him. Last night, President Trump has this situation, security breach, obviously. At this school, or at this restaurant, rather. Now, Charlie Kirk dealing with this situation at the school. What's going on? What is going on in America? Where people are being shot in the streets, where young girls are being stabbed just riding the train.
Well, yeah, that did happen.
No, can't go on anymore. It can't go on, and it has to stop. This is beyond politics. This is beyond anything that's going on. And we're doing everything we can to get direct information about this. Again,
You're just not sharing it with any of us. You just keep quoting, you keep referencing information.
And I'm seeing a lot of stuff on social media. I'm not seeing anything confirmed.
Can you tell us what you're seeing?
Charlie Kirk is a father.
Yeah, we know that.
He's a creator.
Yes.
He's a builder. He's a leader. And he's one of my best friends.
I don't know about that last one.
And you don't mess with my friends.
Oh, what are you going to do, Jack?
You don't mess with my people.
Oh, your people.
It's not how that works.
Okay, how does it work?
It's not how that works at all.
How does it work, Jack?
And so if you want a response, stay tuned.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
You will get one.
All right.
There's a reason the youth voted for Trump last year.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't want Israel to control us.
Charlie Kirk is the reason that we have a chance to save our country.
Yeah, and Trump and his administration are the reason why we lost it.
Charlie Kirk is the reason that we all have a fighting chance.
I agree with that.
Because what he did last year, what he did to reach out to youth, what he did going campus to campus, and what does he do? He talks. He uses his words. Does he talk with conviction? Does he talk with arguments? Does he use controversy? Of course. But that's all it is. That's speech. That's dialogue. That's what we're supposed to be as a country. I've never seen Charlie Kirk raise a hand in anger to anyone.
Nope, he hasn't.
In any one of these situations. You'll never see it.
No, but Frank does.
You never see it at all. Go watch every single video. And they want him dead for that. Charlie Kirk speaks with the strength and the spirit of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Wait, you don't know who wanted him dead. You're saying that people wanted him dead for speaking? Like you're already shaping the narrative? That's crazy.
Who gave him a gift?
God did.
There's no question about that. He's a vessel of the light. And the darkness, they can't stand that. They hate Charlie Kirk. They hate you.
Left versus
They hate
right.
anyone who
Conservative.
stands up for justice, anyone who stands up for truth, anyone who stands up for what is truly good in this world. And even if you disagree with a specific statement, even if you disagree with a specific, take that Charlie makes, that's your right too. But you don't use violence. You don't come in this with violence.
Well, then call out Bibi.
You don't come in this with a situation where people can be hurt.
What?
It's a man with 2 little kids.
Yes.
A beautiful family. A great wife. An American. A patriot.
I don't know about great wife.
True servant leader. And that's how he's always been at Turning Point. And so, look, again, I'm doing everything I can behind the scenes right now. I've got my entire team scrambling on the phone, talking with people
and tell us
at Turning Point.
Yes.
With his team there, obviously, as you can imagine, given the situation what it is, given the situation where we're at.
We don't know. You haven't said anything.
There's a lot going on. And we will get information as soon as we can.
But
what I can say.
Yes.
What I can say.
Please.
Is that the movement that Charlie Kirk built.
Propaganda. Here we go.
The movement that Turning Point USA built for 10 years.
Is there for Israel.
It will never stop. Because the movement is built on truth. Because the movement is built on what's good. The movement is built on where we're at as a country, where we need to be, because America needs a turning point. And that is why, at the very anointed time, when America needed a turning point.
What Vasiliki, what Blake Neff just left what conversation? Wait, hold on. Where'd you go? Blake Neff just left the conversation. Huh? You guys need to watch its replay when you have time. I only heard 2 minutes and came here straight away. Wait, 2 minutes of what? Blake Neff, what conversation? What are you guys talking about? Is it on X? Anointed time. I don't know what that is. By Neff. Don't close your eyes. CK will haunt you. Wait, what? Reason why Jack Posobiec had already been shaping the nerve. Yeah, no. But Vasiliki, what were you talking about? Blake Neff just left the conversation. What conversation? On X, you were watching or listening, and then you heard 2 minutes and came here straight away. Can you tell me what you're talking about? Who turned everybody away at this point? What are you talking about, J-Rock? On X? Okay, let me go to X. Should I go to Blake's home? Where is Blake? Blake Neff? Should I go to Blake Neff? Blake Snaff? Blake left what conversation? The one with him and I don't know. I don't want to just hit it and then this broadcast has ended. Blake Neff, Tyler Robinson hearing. Oh, because they did one at like 9. Blake Neff? Wait, what? Okay, hold up. Where does it say? It says, what does Blake Neff actually know? Oh, Blake Neff.
Behavior is the behavior of a person who genuinely loved Charlie.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear Blake?
Because if she genuinely loved Charlie,
up,
I
yes
think
or no?
she would understand the love, for example, that Charlie had for his wife, and she would not attack Erica the way she has repeatedly.
Yeah.
I think that if she genuinely loved Charlie, she would not so frankly, like recklessly lash out and attack people around him when she has no evidence that they did anything wrong. And she's done that to numerous people. And I just think I think it's absurd to believe, frankly, I think it's absurd to believe that her behavior is that of a person who cared about Charlie. I think there's a lot of evidence of her trying to cynically claim the mantle of being this great champion of Charlie's when that was just not the case. And in fact, we have, like, I can just say it's very clear that they grew apart prior to Charlie's death mainly because Candace was heading in a direction that Charlie was deeply uncomfortable with and a little unnerved by.
Got it. I appreciate it, man. Look, I just want to say, dude, I think a lot of people are putting pressure on you because you're one of the only few people that are willing to speak. I can understand, why, Miss Kirk or whoever, anybody else doesn't want to speak. I could understand where you guys are coming from. But Blake, you've been very open. So I hope that people that come up and ask you questions are respectful at the very least. I have some more questions for you. I'm not really sure if you want.
I'll give you one more, but I can't go forever, and I know there's other people. So if you can ask one question, relatively brief, and then I do want to rotate it.
Okay, yeah, sure. How do you feel this case is going to be resolved? Do you think the murderer is actually going to be found?
I think that this case will end in the conviction of Tyler Robinson. I think the evidence against him is strong. I think the state is presenting it capably. And I generally believe in our system. I think that a jury will consider this evidence proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Thank you, Blake. I just gave you a follow, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
fun
we're
with
going
your
to
interview.
rotate to the next person. But thanks for your question and thanks for being respectful. How do I
highly recommend if you bring up like one person at a time, if you want to like do a Q&A. I'm a big space host. Just
Well,
do one at a time, and
I'm live
you won't
streaming it.
have
You
to
guys
argue.
can hear it, right?
Exactly. So I'm
You want
going
me-
to
have a good night, guys.
remove
They can't
you
hear
now.
me right
but,
now.
thank you, and
It's
take
over
care.
here.
Yeah, Blake, we can do a one by one, but you have that option to mute the entire space. So I don't know. We might just want to let the floodgates open.
Yeah, I'll keep doing it one at a time, just because I don't know. I'm new to this, so I'm going to let up Josie now. Hello, Josie. Do you have a question?
Actually, I think Myron just joined this space. So I'm gonna drop down so you can bring him up.
Myron was able to talk a lot. I'm appreciative that
I'm sure he wants to talk to you.
I'm sure he does, but I'm just saying that Myron, I appreciate you calling out some of the more aggressive stuff, but I do want to try to give additional people the chance to speak. And I do think you had a lot of chances earlier. So I'm going to bring up another person right now. I'm bringing up Jordan now.
Blake is a space boomer. This is true.
I'm a big boomer. I've never done this. So just going to do this one at a time, like a boomer typing one key at a time.
You guys,
Jordan, do you have a question?
you guys should post questions you want me to ask him.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Like,
yes,
you guys
I can.
throw super
Thanks
chat
for coming on.
questions that you want me to ask him.
I host a lot of spaces. My bad. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of
So
course.
we talked a little bit in the other spaces. I was trying to keep it as professional as I could. But, there's 20 other speakers. So what I wanted to ask you about was the trip to Asia, or the trip to South Korea. Can I ask you about that?
Yeah, sure.
So I've been doing some research into that, and I wanted to know, did you go there in advance of Charlie?
I did.
Would you be willing to say why? Like, what was the mission over there?
I went ahead of Charlie because it will sound weird, but by complete coincidence, a friend of mine was getting married in Seoul to a Korean woman, and he invited me, and it lined up with that trip. And so I asked, could I go ahead of time? And I did, and it was great. And I seized that opportunity because I am a bit of a traveler, and so it was a good opportunity to get a few days in Seoul. So I was checking out the museums there and stuff. But that's why I was there early. I was not there as like an advanced team for Charlie's trip.
Perfect. And what was the goal of the mission, or of the trip?
Well, Charlie had been invited to appear at this event. It was called Build Up Korea. If you look at it, it's clearly like a Korean iteration, like it's imitating the way Turning Point would do an event. It has that synthwave color scheme, has the Turning Point style list of speakers. And Charlie was invited to speak at that. A lot of the other speakers were also people who've been associated with Turning Point endeavors. I think like Bill Federer was a speaker there. I think a few pastors that we're friends with were speakers there. So he'd been invited out for that. It also lined up with, he'd been invited to speak at that San Saito party, had that event in Japan. And so he was going to that as well. And so I think it was partly that. There may have been other, if you wanted to meet with one of those pastors who was getting accused of interference in politics and facing prosecution. I know we met with representatives of that guy. He may have had like other objectives, but from my perspective, I was involved in like the preparation for the appearance at that event.
Thank you for that answer. That's all I have. I'll give it to someone else. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. All right, I'm going to boomerishly pick the next person. Let's go with Tammy.
Uh-oh, Tammy, you here?
You there, Tammy? Do you have a question?
Yes. Hey, how are you?
Howdy, I'm great.
I just wanted to let you know I'm keeping up with everything that's going on. I've been watching the trial, or the preliminary trial. I just have a question. I just want you to know I didn't know Charlie, but I love Charlie. I love you guys. I watch your show.
Thank you very much.
I get choked up talking about him. I just want to know, how are you guys doing? I mean, how are you and Andrew and Erica and the crew and how are you guys doing?
You know, everyone handles it their
Dumbest
own way.
question ever.
And I've seen that up close, and I want to be clear about that because I've seen like the face people present to the world is not always the same as what they show to their closest friends. So I just want to say that, and I encourage people to keep that in mind if they're deciding that someone is reacting in a way they don't care for or making the wrong facial expressions or whatever people are fixating on. So I don't want to speak for anyone else. I will speak for myself. I miss Charlie tremendously. If anything, I miss him more now than I did in the immediate aftermath because I can see just how important he was to the country, to the conservative movement, to the Christian faith. And he was so valuable. He was such a great bridge builder, a great coalition builder. He was a great peacemaker. He was a great advisor to the president. He just played such a great role in so many ways. And I miss him tremendously in that way. I miss him a lot as a friend. I miss him a lot as a boss. And I say that because even just in the last few weeks and months before he died, that was the point where I was really fully appreciating what a great person he was. Because when I first started working for Charlie in 2022, I didn't know that much about him. I'd interacted with him a bit, and I kind of thought he was a little goofy. I thought like, some of this stuff this guy does is a little cringe. That was my thought when I first
saying
started.
that is crazy.
And the 3 years that I was able to work with Charlie, it was just a steadily building pile of evidence that like my initial read had been hopelessly wrong, that Charlie was a much greater person than I am, a person of tremendous value and importance. I miss him a great deal. That said, I also will say, I do feel I'm doing better now than I was a few weeks ago. I'm glad to see the criminal case progressing. I'm glad that we're finally through. I think a lot of the weird conspiracies kind of are generated by like the nervous energy that people want to see justice being done and nothing is happening. And so I'm very glad that we're at the point of the trial, that this evidence is being presented. And I just wish we weren't likely to wait all the way until 2028 for an actual jury trial. But that's what I've repeatedly been told is likely. I think that stinks, but that's what I've been told. All
right, hold on. I'm going to ask you guys a question because I'm getting mixed reviews right now as to how many people actually want to listen to this guy. We can hop back on if everyone actually wants it or not. He's just, yeah, we want to see Blake on trial. He's not going to answer any legitimate questions. No one's even asking any legitimate questions. He's talking, he's filibustering. A lot of people left. It's not even guaranteed that I'll even get the chance to even ask him a question. You know, I'm seeing some of the questions that you guys have. A lot of people are saying cringe. You know, let's move on. Yeah. All right, let's go back to Frank. I think that was much better focus. All right. I bet you people are recording it so they can, if you want to listen to it later, you can. All right.
And every oral account is fragmentary. It's not complete. And people are going to emphasize different things about an event that they witnessed. They're not going to say exactly the same thing. They may say the same thing essentially about the big event, just like in the New Testament documents. Yeah, there was a resurrection. They may emphasize different details about that resurrection, who got to the tomb first, how many angels were there, that kind of thing. That doesn't change the main fact that there was a resurrection. Everybody agrees on that. Everybody agrees we were in the car taking Charlie to the hospital. And yeah, we were all trying to stop the bleeding. I mentioned CPR because I was the one trying it the last 20 or 30 seconds of the ride. It's not a
while you were praying out loud the entire ride.
Contradiction.
That's a contradiction.
Right? Now, maybe as we're yanking and banking into the
stretch,
into the parking lot, Brian was preoccupied thinking or talking to somebody else or whatever, because it was a lot of commotion, as you could imagine. He didn't see me trying for 20 or 30 seconds. Maybe he did. I don't know.
Oh, that's insane.
In fact, he's got a lawsuit against Candace Owens right now, so I don't think he can even talk about any of this. But someone could call him and ask him if they want to.
If Candace can talk about it, he could talk about it. He just would probably need to tell the truth. If he's shoving gauze in like a kitten kneading on his mother's teat the whole time, 36 feet, I think he's going to notice if you're over there doing chest compressions and then giving mouth to mouth to Charlie while you're speaking. And maybe he was demonically possessed and he's giving mouth to mouth, and then the demon was talking out of his rear or his ear or some other orifice on him. I don't know.
Not a contradiction. We're just emphasizing different details at different times.
Okay.
In fact, eyewitnesses disagree on details for various reasons. That's the mark of authentic eyewitness testimony. They all agree on the essentials. They disagree on the minor details. In fact, disagreeing with others on these minor details can not only be explained, it is to be expected.
Willy Wonka.
If you have any judge in a courtroom,
a couple things. So I did request the mic. I requested to speak. He has the ability to choose who to allow to ask a question. Found it interesting. One of the first people he let ask a question is freaking Jordan freaking Henshaw. Total op. Me no likey. And then the people that ask, how are you doing? How are you guys holding up? Are you guys hanging in there? Okay. And then he just filibusters the whole time. All right. Get it? Oh, this is old. Sorry. From Jack Posobiec. Get it, Frosty? Frosty the Snowman. Yeah, I do. It was Tater Tot's cousin, I think. Well, I don't know. That's old, probably. This is why I don't like waiting till the very end to do super chats. Because it means people's statements or questions are out of context. So let's continue with Frank Turkey. Dude, I'm like falling apart, though. I'm going to try to last as long as I can, you guys.
Hear testimony from two eyewitnesses about a given crime, and they give exact word-for-word testimony about what happened, including every detail. What does that judge immediately assume? Collusion. They got together to get their story straight. No, there's no collusion here. Brian and I, we've hardly talked since it happened. Okay? We may exchange a text or two here or there, but not, we haven't tried to get our story straight, so to speak. We're just telling you what happened from our own perspectives. And no matter what perspective that is, it's going to be fragmentary, and we're going to mention different things that stuck out to us. Now, it's one thing to contradict others. Brian and I appears to have contradicted over this, but in reality, it wasn't a contradiction. He's generally right. Most of the ride, we didn't do any of this. I just tried it at the very end. But that's to be expected. We're going to have these differences. But what if you continue to contradict yourself? That seems a bit more of a serious blow to someone's credibility.
All right, guys, can I do something, please? Because I keep standing up and shaking out my legs, and my back is kinking up really bad. We're at 3.5 hours. This was longer. And I think a lot of people are tired where they're at. Can we stop here tonight, please, without offending anyone? And we can finish this turkey video tomorrow or another day. My feet are going numb. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. Hopefully you guys still love me. Hopefully. All right. Let me make sure all the supers I got in. All right, I did. All right. And then let me just get some things out of the way. Oh, wait. I think did me... Is this one from today? Watch. Oh. I don't know, sweetheart. If you're still watching, can you send me the end of the day Charlie clip? I don't have it in my inbox. Or if one of the mods are still here, you guys can send me one that I can play. I can just look one up too, but when I do that, I can't guarantee that it's one that we haven't played already. If you guys haven't done so already, please hit the like and the subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel, and I appreciate it. Every time you do, you help support me. And when the video's done and it posts, can you guys just leave a comment under the video and hype the video for free? Those are the best ways to help for free. And they do help a lot. If you guys want to donate, but you don't want to give through YouTube, you can do it here at the Blackline Brief Venmo account. You just scan the QR code and send your donation and support that way. Or you can do it here at buymeacoffee.com/the Blackline Brief. Once again, you just scan this QR code and then you can donate and it goes directly to this channel. And just make sure to write a note or a memo as to what you would like the money that you're giving to go to. And then we make sure that it does. All right. And it can be for anything. You can determine what you would like your donation to go to. All right. Let me check my inbox to see if anything came in while I was waiting. It didn't. So let me see if I have something in here. Yeah, I think we've seen this one, but this would be a good one to show. Let me hit pause. Let me go big. Just got to remember what was Charlie saying at the end, because he wasn't differing from Candace all that much. All right.
I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. The one thing if it was one text or two text, it is dozens of texts.
Yes.
My really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us. It's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right? I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. The one thing.
Clip. All right, I got another one. Hold on. Oh, this is funny. All right.
Any words of wisdom for today?
Don't drink fish cleaner. Don't do stupid things.
Why are we getting that one?
Because he's just the perfect width. Not too fat, not too skinny. We're in an elevator. I like your hat.
What's a wisdom for today?
Life is good.
Where are we?
We're in the White House.
Oh, the only thing that's bad about those is Erica's in them. What's this one? Let's see. Wait, I don't think I can do music. I'm not going to be allowed to do music. Oh, not if it's going to be Erica. I'm not playing Erica. Get out of here, TPUSA. Get out of here. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get this off the screen. Let me find one without Erica ruining it for us. Give me a second. Should women go to jail for... Oh, I can't do that one. It has the A word. Come on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go here. No, oh my gosh. Why is she in all of them, bro? I don't want to play it if it's got her in it. Can we get one without her in it? Please. Please. She's in that one too? What is wrong? Let's do this one. Pause. Volume. Share. Big. I don't know what this lady's going to say. So hopefully it's not bad.
Questioned Charlie Kirk about the penalty. His biblical answer shocked the whole crowd.
I have concerns over things like penalty. It's one of the 10 commandments. You should not. So is it somehow justified because they're such a horrible criminal, or are they eliminating or changing the trajectory of God's plan for what it was supposed to be because they somebody and they didn't go when God was ready for them?
Great question. So I get the question a lot. So it does not say do not kill. So those are two different Hebrew words, right? So to is a completely different thing than to kill. For example, you're allowed to kill in self-defense. Somebody comes into your house, you are allowed to take that life if your life is being put into jeopardy. So this idea of taking a life if you take a life, what is it rooted in? Why does it matter? Well, first of all, God is communicating to us the first thing. Taking human life is a major deal. So if you take another image bearer's life, what could possibly be a just punishment for that? Well, according to the economy of God, it's that your life must also be taken. When you take another person's life, you already took your own life. I want you to think about it. If someone were to Alex or me, they already themselves in that action. They already bestowed the punishment upon themselves. We are simply completing the task. And think about it. Some people will say, but Charlie, you know, it's not fair because of whatever sob story liberal reason. But you know who it's not fair to? It's not fair to the victims. You are cheapening the lives of the victim. You are basically saying the victims die and you get to live. So you get to continue to live even though you took the lives of others. The only just thing that we can reason ourselves to is to take that person's life. And that is not, that is killing, and it's societal self-defense.
When this woman.
Yeah, but what's also important though is you get the actual person that did the killing and not someone else. So I think that's important to note, you know. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there today. Long show. All right. We'll get to whatever we didn't cover today tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a short day in the trial and the hearing and the prelim. Love you guys. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. God bless. Bye.